itself, but at the end of the day, there's a slim glimmer of chance there, and if that provides you with an extra 10% motivation, well, then you use that.
Yeah, look, I think I've spoken to a few people internally, and I think I'll leave names out, but they're probably aware that they don't necessarily deserve to be in the 8, considering, I guess, how they've performed this season. Like, they've had some pretty, I guess, nasty losses.
Yeah.
They just have not had the consistency that I think that they probably have shown over the last couple of years. But the health of their list has been the biggest issue. Look, they need a lot to go their way for the remainder of the season. I don't know the science or the mathematics behind it, but they can't drop this. I think Dean Cox was quoted that they can still have a say in how this year kind of turns out. But look, I think we'll get a clear indication today about kind of where they're at with their mentality for the rest of the season. You just never know with the Swans. They have been in this situation before. I remember in 2017 losing the first 6 and they come back. So they're probably a side that, the one side in the AFL that you just never throw them, you never ever throw them out. But look, we'll wait and see in a few months' time.
Brad Scott mentioned last night in his press conference about the injuries and how he's never seen anything like his club and how many injuries they have, and how basically he puts them on the park and just hopes for the best. They don't train much because it's a whole new group. Do you feel a bit for Dean Cox, Berkey, as a former coach as well, of just a revolving door of players that you have, and then the next week, here's another couple of our key players out again?
It is. My last year of coaching AFLW was very much the same. For the last 3 games of the year, we didn't have enough players to field teams, so we had to bring in players from the VFL just to make up the numbers. So whilst that is, it's hard as a coach, what it does though is it allows you to play players and give them games that otherwise probably wouldn't be playing.
Yes,
and that's good as a coach.
And they get a run at it too. It's not, you're just not brought in for one game and then you're out the next week.
Yeah, look, you wouldn't normally get the opportunity to do that. So as a coach, you're always looking for the positives, but to one, give them the opportunity, but 2, to go up to a young fella and say, hey, you're making your debut this week. That's a special thing as a coach. You don't get to do that all that often.
A great example of that would be Corey Warner for the Sydney Swans. Like, I'd be very confident saying that when they go through the pre-season and you do your best 22 at the start of the year, I don't think Corey Warner would have been picked in that best 22. He's probably played 11, 12 games this year, and he's actually performed okay. So there are guys like that I guess, get an opportunity to fight for a contract and add a couple of years to their career.
What about the tactical side of today? Because, of course, Nazai Wanganeen-Miller was dominant last week. 43 disposals. It was a virtuoso-level performance. Unfortunately, he just couldn't finish off his work with the 3 behinds. But the Swans might have maybe the hottest tagger in the competition in James Jordan. Another option there in Braden Campbell. Would you, Berkey, put someone to Wanganeen-Miller?
I'd try. Yeah, absolutely. He's such an important factor in this Saints team. You shut him out and that just destroys a whole bunch of their run. The interesting thing for me is Ross Lyon waited until 3/4 time to actually put him in the midfield last week. Spent first 3 quarters on a half-back line. Those 3 behinds that he got pretty much all came in that last quarter because he's playing in the midfield. He's able to get forward. So for me, that's the next iteration of Wanganeen-Miller. We see him kick goals by getting a handball received to someone outside 50 and doing the long one. Get him inside 50, allow him to... He's got exceptional skills below his knees. One grab, pick up, snap, get a goal. Can't do that off the half-back line. So let's see how attacking Ross Lyon is. But I think I know the answer.
So the question for Sydney then, Cal, is who goes to him? Is it James Jordan, who's done the job on Caleb Sarong last week and held him to 11 disposals? Or is it Braden Campbell, who played on Jordan Clark coming off that half-back line?
I don't know about James Jordan kind of, playing up forward. From my perspective, I think someone like Braden Campbell, he's got the speed to, challenge him. And I think with guys like Nick Blakey, and now with Errol Gordon back in the side, really good elite kicks, you can try and play through him a little bit. Someone like Braden Campbell, really strong forward craft, and actually developed his game really well this year. If you can have a tactic of trying to play through him, maybe the short hit-ups, you've got to keep a guy like him accountable because you just know how damaging he is coming off half-back.
And in the midfield today, at the ruck battle, Carl, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this. So Brodie Grundy's coming off 10 coaches' votes and just a supreme probably month of footy as well for Brodie. And then you got Rowan Marshall on the other side of it. It's his 150th game, but Lloyd Meek was quite comprehensive last Saturday when we sat here and watched it. So how do you see that playing out for a battle in the midfield?
Yeah, I think Brodie I watched his games a fair bit this year, and I think he definitely had a chunk of the year where probably wasn't up to his standard, to be brutally honest. But from what I've heard, he somewhat got a bit of a kick up the backside, and then the last month, I think he's probably arguably been the best ruckman in the competition. Marshall's an interesting one. I'm staying close to the commentary with what he's going to be doing at the end of the year. But two quite different ruckmen. Marshall, he can get around the ground very well. He's probably naturally forward of he's a ruckman that plays a little bit more naturally forward of the ball and can kind of hit the scoreboard. Whereas Grundy, he's that kind of in and under. He's going to be following up pretty hard. But who knows? This might only he might be on borrowed time, Marshall, from what I'm hearing over the next few weeks.
Well, it depends whether the opening of the checkbook affected a player from another team. That's it. Look, I don't think they can play them both.
Yep.
I think Carlton has shown that De Koning doesn't work well as a second banana.
But the other thing is they drafted the best ruckman in the crop last year, the Saints. They got Alex Dodson at an absolute steal at pick 52, and he looks to be a massive prospect.
Yeah, it's a big call though, isn't it? Like if you're a list manager, to throw that amount of money at someone to take up a fair chunk of your list. Like in any sort of business, you've got to kind of justify your expenses. You know, I buy a coffee at work, and I've got to kind of put it through and make sure that it's kind of, for a business expense. But I just find it interesting, and I'm sure they're going to have to justify internally about why they would do it.
Yeah, I can't see why you would do it, to be totally honest. Rowan Marshall is good enough to be a premiership ruck. It's not him that's holding this team back. It's instead of spending 1.7 on another ruck, spend $850 on two outstanding midfielders who have got upside.
Which is what they need.
Yeah.
Well, they need depth in that department of the comp.
Absolutely. Find someone young, 23, 24, about to sort of take that leap, currently getting 500-600, offer them 800 to move. Pay them a little bit of overs, but that's what they need, not another Rowan Marshall.
There's a guy called Ollie Florent who can't get back in the Sydney Swans side at the moment. I think he's been in the twos since about round 11.
Yep.
He's a Bayside boy, grew up in Beaumaris, does his off-season training at Moorabbin. I do know that. I don't know if he runs it back in the time, but just, watch this space.
We will watch out for that one. Might see him running down the beaches at some point.
Right.
Just quickly before the bounce, a couple of minutes until we do have the bounce, Sydney and St Kilda under the roof of Docklands. We're talking of tools, but Max Heath comes in for his debut. He's been on the list for 5 years. He's played 58 VFL games and finally gets a chance to go out there today. That's a long wait.
It is a long wait. He's just playing with Sandringham in the VFL. They post the numbers of the guys who have done well each week, and his name pops up regularly as a high possession ruckman. So he's getting 21, 22, snagging a goal, taking a dozen marks. So he's coming in good form, and I'm glad that he's now walking straight down to full forward. Hopefully we can get they can get a couple of Chad was calling Hawthorn wee every week, so I got in the habit. But if they can get it out of the middle and get it down to him and get his hands on the ball first, he's got a bit of a height advantage against the Swans defenders who aren't all that tall. Hopefully for the young fella, he can get himself into the game.
There's a big unit going there to full forward, 204 centimetres, and he looks every bit of it. Moose, they call him. So it's St Kilda and Sydney under the roof. Sydney with a must-win. If they're any chance of playing the finals, as much as it might be a slim prospect, they're still in with a chance. And St Kilda just looking to get a win late in the season and their first one in 6 weeks. It's a cool, chilly day in Melbourne. The roof is closed. The crowd's slowly filling in, and it looks like a decent amount for a St Kilda home game on a Sunday. As always, there's a delay in getting things ready. The music stopped.
Wanganeen Malera starting in the forward line for the Saints. So whether they thought they might have set a defensive tag for him or something like that. So let's hope it's
gone straight to him.
Let's hope it's a sign that he starts there and then comes up into the midfield pretty quickly.
Here we go, all set and readiness. The umpire about to bounce the ball. Here's Joel Peterson to get us underway.
Two of the premier rucks in the comp in Marshall and Grundy. Marshall out there in game 150. It goes up above them at the start. And it was Marshall who might have had better of the tap. McRae's onto it in a flash. He's tackled immediately. We'll get a secondary stoppage straight away. Big Jack Buller up at full forward for the Swans. Kicking to the right of your radio dial in this opening term. Heaney puts his head over it. He's immediately grabbed. And it's still going nowhere in the middle. Jordan and Wanganeen Miller haven't left each other alone in the early stages. It's going to be a fascinating tactical battle as now they've both rolled up to this stoppage in the centre.
Umpire tosses it up, it falls down to the ground. It's still in a roving maul to grab it. Grundy can get hands to it. He's pulled down the tackle by Steele. And the umpire will pull it in and throw it up again. So ball not moving anywhere, still just between the centre circles and half forward for the Swans.
Not the greatest start to a game of football, Berkey.
It was better than Saturday night Essendon and Richmond, I can guarantee that.
Yeah, I think anything was better than that, Berkey. And it's a free kick. Of course, we've found a free kick to break things up. It goes to Brodie Grundy. He wants to play on quickly. Hacks the kick inside 50 to a hot spot. Wilkie had front position. He might have been held as well, and he'll get the free kick. So it'll be a free kick going the way of the St Kilda defender. He's playing his 150th consecutive game today, so he hasn't missed since debut. He takes the footy, hits Mitch Owens, but it'll be a free kick towards Mitch Owens, just moved off it by Malikan. And Owens will have the footy left half back for St Kilda. Not convinced of what's ahead of him, so goes long down the line over the top of the two rucks. Punch down towards Grundy, who can take it. Hand pass it away to McInerney, who tries to curl the ball in towards Mills. It'll be stolen though by the Saints, and Sinclair can grab it. Hand pass it back to Hill. He'll be able to switch it to the outer side of the ground, where he puts it to right half back, and he can find Mason Wood, another player in his 150th milestone game.
The former Roo kicks up the line, looking for Sharman. McCartan's there, takes it off the hands of the Saints. He turns it over to Steele. Handball back to Wood. Handball to Hall. Handball to Sinclair at right half forward. Jams it on the boot. High footy to full forward. The big Moose is sitting under this. Heath goes up. He has to do the ruck work in the end. Taps it down. Marshall through his hands. Got it to Owens, and the Saints have got the first. Heath involved in the scoring chain. They all get to the big fella. But it's Mitch Owens who finishes the work off and gets the Saints on the board. One straight. The Swans yet to score. 2.5 minutes opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Your experts are Nathan Burke and Kel Sinclair.
Well, it wasn't probably the most glamorous kick going inside 50. I think the big Moose, who I love saying that name now, he had to sit under that for a fair bit. And a good contest from the big fella to at least bring it to ground. And tell you what, it's probably what Grundy's got to be a little bit careful of Marshall kind of drifting forward and kind of getting involved. As I said, kind of pre-game, Marshall is that kind of guy that can get involved forward of the footy. But hey, interesting contest, not glamorous, but a decent start.
Mitch Owens got away with his signature move, which is push his opponent fair and square in the back. Then he does it all the time, but very rarely gets caught. But that time it actually paid off. He's had a couple of possessions early, which is good for him.
Saints with an early goal, first 2 minutes of the game, and they lead by that 6 points as Marshall and Grundy tussle in the ruck. Rowbottom has it. He's held up by McRae. And again, it'll be another stoppage in the two centre circles. Hunter Clark, the sub for St Kilda this afternoon, and Riley Bice back into the side, and will be sitting on the back of the bench for Sydney. As from the middle, it's finally funneled out towards Steele. He can only get it as far as Marshall. It comes out the back towards Wood. Hand pass to Steele. He's taken in a tackle. Just can get rid of the footy towards Sinclair, who skies the footy inside 50. Up went Wanganeen Miller, up 2 hands to it. Couldn't take the mark. Sharman has a go at it as well. He falls to ground. Wood's involved as well for the Saints. And it will be a ball up right at the top of the 50 for St Kilda. They're just leading by that one straight goal. It's 4 minutes played in the opening term, Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
Swans in their white jumpers with the red V and the red shorts. Saints in their Euro Indigenous jerseys this afternoon. Of course, the last day of NAIDOC week, and both clubs marking that in the pre-game on their banners. Grundy might have thrown it out of the contest. A hack kick out of there for the Swans from the defensive 50. Ends up with Caminiti in the middle. His hand pass a bit too hot for Windhager. Scooped on by Warner. Now it's taken away by the Swans. A run and a bounce for Warner. Gets to 55. Puts it over the back into space. He was looking for Hayward, but the kick was wayward. Out of bounds on the full. And it'll be taken by Cal Wilkie on the last line of defence for the Saints. They lead by one straight kick, 4.5 gone opening term.
Well, of faith shown in young Angus Hasty, who's standing.
So Wilkie will kick it right down towards Steele, who gathers it from the pack. It'll be a turnover here as Blakey recovers and kicks to centre half forward.
Isaac Heaney was the name I was looking for.
He knows who he is. It's okay.
So Buller with the mark, centre half forward. Long kick will be popping it right into the pocket for the Saints to punch away from Taru. And the Warrigal Blues.
Nope, I'm found something.
So Taru's getting the pats on the back from his teammates who are happy with what he did, but it will be a free kick.
Yeah, it's a free kick. Took his eye off the ball there, and just McLean just couldn't get a run and jump at it. So good umpiring.
Hayden McLean from a familiar spot, Claremorris Sharks.
Absolutely, and he's kind of, been battling injury this year and been going back and forth, but, he's kind of found a little bit of form, had some slight heroics there last week, and this will be a confidence boost if he can put this through.
So Hayden McLean, short distance, tough angle.
Kick.
Puts the kick right through the middle for Sydney. And they've got their opening goal on the board. They draw scores level early stages of this match. It's Hayden McLean with the first for the Swans. 1 straight 6 apiece. We've played 6 minutes in the opening term. Your ABC sport experts, Nathan Burke and Callum Sinclair.
Knowing Hayden really well, Berkey, like those sort of kicks, that uncomfortable distance, those are the ones that he definitely has to kick. So I know how he's kind of come into the system as a mature age rookie. Those sort of opportunities are crucial for players like him just to get his confidence into the game, and mate, couldn't be more happy for him with how he's come back from injury.
Yep, Dean Cox sitting down on the bench as he does, and had a good chat with him as he came off.
Sign on the bench down there in front of the Swans. Just reads time and space. Looking for that in the early stages here. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Bounce down in the middle to get us going again. Tied at 6 in the early stages. Heaney just tries to paddle it forward for the Swans. Gains about 30 metres. Garcia has played it for the Saints. Jordan's pulled to the turf. Handball away to Roberts. To Heaney. Gang tackled. He got it out in the tackle of Steele and Henry. Mills tried to punch it inside the forward 50. No real possession for the Swans. It's ended up in their arc about 35 metres out from goal. Stocker now in defence for the Saints. Wanganeen Miller kicks a grubber. It's taken well by Garcia. Paddle it to his own advantage. Loops the handball out wide to the broadcast side. Sharman quickly onto Steele. Backtracks. Assesses the options. Found one he liked. Handball to Windhager under pressure. He wobbles a kick down the line. It's an awkward looking thing. Owens the target. And he had McCartan draped all over him. So Owens will take it between the wing and left half forward for the Saints.
Owens loads up on the kick. He puts it into the left forward pocket. He wants a mark to be coming from Butler, but it was Grundy in front of him and always had front position in that contest. So it'll be a ball up right at the top of the Saints attacking 50. Kicking towards the Lockett end of the stadium in this opening term. Decent crowd is coming. Looks probably more than half full, maybe about half full for today's match. Under the roof as it's palmed down towards Windhager, who takes it, hand passes it to Jack Steele, goes right and then goes left and ends up hand passing back to Windhager. 55 metres out from goal, he goes into a pack. He'll be punched away by Goulden, who puts it into the path though of Hill. For the Saints, can keep it inside 50, just dinks the kick towards Sinclair, who was leading at him. Sinclair's been able to take the mark. He's about 45 metres out from goal. Is where the player on the mark is standing. He'll have to kick from 50, Jack Sinclair.
I reckon on a good day, he's just got it in him. Well played by Hill, though. Just didn't bomb it to the goal square. Just took his time, found a player, even though he was sort of further out from goal. Good ball use.
Stood at his mark for just a second or two to assess the kick. Has put plenty on it from 51 metres out. An absolute beauty from Jack Sinclair.
He loved it, didn't he? He did.
I think he convinced him, surprised himself almost.
Yeah.
That was from 50 metres plus from Jack Sinclair. A beautiful looking kick. Every player on the field has come out to celebrate and give him a pat on the head. Wilkie is running back to his mark now. A great kick from Sinclair, and St Kilda go up by 6 points. 2 straight 12 playing Sydney, 1 straight 6. 9 minutes past in the first term. It's Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
And I think Berkey, what I really liked, don't get me wrong, the kick was great, but it was that initial kick to the top of the square to put, I guess, the Swans' defence under a fair bit of pressure, and then Hill getting front and centre, and as you said, his composure to just bring it back inboard.
So the big celebration for Jack Sinclair, 68th goal of his career. Nothing particularly notable about that, to be fair, so quite sure what all the fuss was about from a Saints perspective. At the clearance, it's Marshall, got it to Wanganeen Miller, away to Steele, tumbles the kick inside the forward 50. Up to meet it was Owens. Back into vacant territory. Lloyd scoops it up for the Swans. His handball finds Grundy through a set of hands. Steele did well to knock it down. Then away to Garcia for the Saints inside the forward 50. Picked off by Goulden. So good to have him back in this Sydney team. Immediate outlet kick. He finds Hayward at right half back for the Swans. Feeds the handball forward to Mills. Mills now on to Wicks. He's been just defensive side of the broadcast wing. Step one, Saint, and then got his kick away under pressure. Floats out of bounds on the full. Be brought back in front of the interchange by Stocker for St Kilda.
Stocker back in from a calf injury. Kicks backwards towards Taru. The Flying Viking has become pretty popular fan favourite in just a few games that he's played for the Saints. Says his kick, though, will be chopped off in the forward 50 by Heaney. Snaps, goals, doesn't make a mistake there, and celebrates with the crowd too. There's a lot of Blood supporters, Swan supporters down the Coventry end of Docklands, and they like that from Heaney. A mistake from the youngster, and Heaney was there to pick it off. Means scores are all tied up again, 2 straight 12. 11 minutes played in the first term, and a mistake there means that Sydney draw scores level.
Yes, a mistake is really all you can call it. That one, he went to maintain possession, kicked into Brad Hill, 25, 30 metres out from goal, but just hung it up in the air too far, and Isaac Heaney, he only needs half a sniff, and it was a spoil. Picks up the ball running towards the boundary line, about 10 metres in from the boundary line, and still snaps it through. It's just a class effort from Heaney, and the young fellow will know that when those sort of players are around, you have to be extra, extra careful with the football.
Big Max Heath into the middle for his first incursion into the game. It was Grundy who won the tap down for the Swans. Away to Jordan. Forward hand pass to Sheldrick. Inside forward 50. That's terrific play from Sydney. And the mark is taken by Buller. He'll have to unload from right on the 50, if not beyond.
Tell you what, it's a great kick going inside 50 to lower your eyes, but Brodie Grundy's just tap work there to just, James Jordan, just the strength in that kind of to hold and push through that tackle that started with Brodie Grundy.
Third game of the season for Jack Buller, mid-season draftee of a couple of years ago. He's kicked 1 goal, 1 so far, both this season and in his career. Set shot kick from right at the top of the arc. He lays into it, lets it go, and it is straight and strong. It's a good weekend to be on Buller. And Jack gets his first of the ball game and puts the Swans in front. 3 straight 18, St Kilda 2 straight 12, 13 gone. Opening term, Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Jack Sinclair, anything you can do, I can do equally as well. It's lovely goal kicking so far we've seen today, which is outstanding, but that was a great centre clearance. Centre clearance is a 3 to do in favour of the Swans so far, and as you're right, it was Max Heath's first centre bounce that he's attended as a senior Saint, and Brodie Grundy just locked him up, and then bit of guile there rather than size and strength did the job.
As a ruck, I'm interested in your thoughts on Max Heath's footwear, Cal, because it does look like he's out there in the career savers in game 1.
Nothing wrong with the career savers, mate. They're like the boogie boards, as I used to call them.
So it is Heath still in the ruck against McLean this time, palm down towards Rowbottom, who gets the free kick against Garcia. And Rowbottom, long kick will go inside 50. It's been a 50-metre penalty or a downfield free kick. A little bit of push and shoving going inside the forward line as well.
Aaron Francis ended up on the turf.
I think it was the Viking.
And there's a play on here. They go right into the goal square. Lloyd's there, slams it home, point-blank range. There's another one for the Swans. That's 3 in a row in 3 minutes to the visiting side, and they're up by 6 points.
I know Jake Lloyd very, very well. Yep. He would have been so smart with that. He would have got, I'm going to just drag my man over there and just tuck out to the left-hand side. But I think that was the Viking. He's had a rough 3 or 4 minutes, I think. So
yeah, he gave away goal. His player let out, took the mark and kicked the goal. And that one was a downfield free kick. Just waiting for the replay to see what happened. It was probably a push and shove that one hand got a little bit high or something like that.
Up by 12 points too. Sorry, Berkey, my mistake there. So they've gone up by 2 goals there, with the most recent 3 goals in the match coming very quickly.
From a coaching perspective, what would you say to him at this point in time?
I wouldn't worry about that. What was happening was that the Sydney player was running back to the goal square and he just blocked his path. Stood on his way. Sydney player went to ground. Umpire saw it and paid a free kick. So I'd say, mate, just keep being physical. Keep doing what you do.
And the clearance from the Swans from the restart. Goulden gave it to Cunningham, who lasered the kick to Campbell. Gets onto his left boot, sends it long inside the 50. Terrific mark from Wilkie. Floating across, intercepts brilliantly, as he's done so well and so often for the Saints. Exiting kick from Hill's a poor one. Turned over. McInerney pokes it inside forward 50. And here is McInerney, in fact, who's taken the mark. 40 metres out from goal. And Justin McInerney can try and kick a 4th goal on the bounce for the Swans and push that margin out to 18 points.
They're lowering their eyes really well, the Swans, this last 5 or 6 minutes, and just making the St Kilda defenders really accountable on the hit up. But there's a terrific kick there by Lewis Milliken. Not known for his inside 50s, but
the setup was good. What's the finish like from McInerney? Not quite there. It's away to the right-hand side. The first blemish from either side on the copybook this afternoon. 4-1 the Swans, 2 straight the Saints. We're 16 minutes into the opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Nathan Burke, Cal Sinclair, Joel Peterson and Lauren Borden with you.
Well, they just kind of can't exit the footy at the moment, St Kilda. I think they've had a bit of luck with free kicks, I guess, the Swans, and St Kilda's, I guess, ill-disciplined, particularly in their defensive half, but they just can't move the ball. They've had a handful of repeats in that last 5 or 6 minutes, and they're getting shots on goal. So the lowering the eyes is kind of working very well for the Swans, but it's like there's a nasty blood rule, actually, from Will Hayward on the sidelines at the moment.
It's a little on the side of his eye. He's come off and the umpire's waited for him to make his way to the bench. It'll be fixed up by the doctors down there, so a bit of blood on the right eye. Wanganeen Miller up, takes a bounce, and plays on across the outer side of the ground. He was looking for Sharman. It's punched out of the boundary for a throw in between wing and half forward for the Swans. So it was good while it lasted, wasn't it? 6 straight goals to start the game. An improvement on the 12 consecutive behinds last night between Richmond and Essendon, and the lowest scoring game of the year. So we've already got a little bit more excitement than that in the opening 17 minutes of the match. It's Sydney leading by 13 points. It's tossed in, brought to ground. Warner has a go at it. He's brought down by 3 Saints. And the umpire will come to ball it in, or throw it up rather. City side of the ground, still slightly to the advantage of the Swans half. Clean and Heath bustle around the ball up. Heath can get it, taps it out behind him. It ricochets almost back towards him, where Windhager will pick it up. Just kicks it right down the line, very close to the boundary. And Sharman will run it over for a throw-in. So now it'll be a throw-in between wing and half forward for the Saints. It is Sydney leading by 13 points. 17 minutes played in the opening terms. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
Last 3 goals in the game for the Swannies. Ball's chucked back in. Heath works his way to front spot. McLean picked it up. Couldn't get the handball away cleanly. Goulden lays on top with the tackle. Umpire says mine. Nick Brown, Cam Dorr, Andrew Adair, Jordan Fry, 4 field umpires this afternoon. Hopefully there's no contact between or with any of them throughout the course of the afternoon. That's the last thing we need. As Windhager draws a stop to things again. So still just stoppage footy at the moment between the wing and right half forward on that City side of the ground. 4-1 plays 2 straight. Butler and Jordan are into it there as they're trying to break that tag that Jordan's got for the Swans.
So ball spills out. McRae is the one that can pick it up for St Kilda. Just puts the kick in. One bounce towards Sharman. He's being held closely. The ball spills out to Rowbottom and he hand passes it to Errol. Just clears the kick away from defensive 50. Out to a contest right near the boundary line with Buller and Caminiti. And it's Caminiti who'll get the free kick as the two held on to each other. And Caminiti wins the free kick right at centre wing. City side of the ground. Goes down to the half forward line for St Kilda. It bobbles its way into the forward 50, but it'll be making its way back out. As Rowbottom hand pass to Goulden, who hand pass back towards Wicks. Just kicks it to McCartan, right in the back goal square. We'll just share it back to the left back pocket towards Cunningham.
Played the last 4 after a foot injury, kept him out in the early part of the season. Harry Cunningham. Kicks long to the outer side wing. Bullock got caught in the wrestle. Might have bounced off the back of his bonce there, I reckon, as he got spun around. Caminiti couldn't believe that he'd given away the free kick. Handball off to Goulden. He laces one down the line looking for Warner. Handball over his head to keep it in. He can't do so. And it'll be tossed in. 70 out from the Swans goal at left half forward.
I'd like $1 for every free kick given in a marking contest so far this game.
Yeah, I thought Buller was stiff there. He's done a couple of nice things, but the whistle's hot.
Ball will be tossed back in. Swans into attack. They trail by 13 points. 2 straight, plays 4-1. Comes to ground. Now the kick inside forward 50 from McInerney to full forward. Lloyd going back there. Francis is there as well. Lloyd dives on the footy, tried to farm it up to Campbell. 20 out from the Swans goal. It's in close confines. Wood sells a bit of candy and then wobbles a kick out of the area. Malikan comes it across, knocks it away from Owens. Roberts picks it up, puts it into the pocket, and Lloyd had Wood coming with an almighty rush. He did enough to knock it out of the play, and it'll be thrown back in right forward pocket. Swans into attack and looking dangerous.
Well, Cal Wilkie copped a whack in the head then, but as he was trying to sort of just regain his bearings, the ball bounced up into his hands.
13 points the margin Sydney's way. Rowbottom hand passes it away to Campbell, who just lowers the eyes and kicks to the top of the 50. It goes through the hands of Gould, and he can recover. Well, it's tapped out of his hands in the end by Windhager. Comes back to Cunningham, who can put the kick inside 50. It'll be a same result, a set shot at goal for Sydney, and Lloyd's marked 45 metres out from the sticks for Sydney.
My advice to young Tara would be, we'd love you getting across and bringing that third man up into the contest and having a lot of spoils, but your first job is to make sure that the ball doesn't get kicked to your opponent. At the moment, he's just sagging a little bit too much. This will be the second time from this position his opponent has had that 5-10 metres in front of him and having a shot for goal.
So Lloyd skipping in, 45-degree angle, 45 metres out for his second for the quarter. Absolutely nails it for the Swans, and he's got another. And all of a sudden the margin is starting to balloon out, and it's now out to 19 points as we tick into extra time in this first quarter. It is Sydney 5-1-31, St Kilda 2 straight 12. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
And this is I guess, another blood rule here, I think, unfortunately. But I think Jake Lloyd's role is very interesting now that he was probably a month ago, he was actually omitted and dropped from the side due to poor form. But his role's completely changed. Like, he wouldn't have played forward at all his entire career. But since coming back into the side, he's really getting forward of the footy and actually really having an impact on the scoreboard. So very interesting to see how Dan Cox has kind of, I guess, reignited his spot in the team. Perhaps they didn't really feel like he was getting enough drive through, I guess, half back. But look, he's playing his role. He's hit the scoreboard. He's probably safe for another few weeks.
Thoughts of Cal Sinclair with you on ABC Sport. Jake Lloyd with 2 goals for the 4th time in his career. The 2nd time in 2 weeks. Grundy out of the middle. It's just hacked forward by Goulden, soccer style. Taru ended up with it. Handed it off to Hasty. Draftees of the last 2 years can calm things down for the Saints, and Hill's got it inside the defensive 50. Swans by 19 points, 5-1 to 2 straight, and they've kicked the last 4 of the game here of Sydney. Now it's in the hands of Sinclair, who kicked a long goal earlier in the quarter. Off to Henry, who's in the long sleeves this afternoon. His right sleeve is red, his left sleeve is black. It's an interesting look. He's turned to kick over. Hayward off to Heaney from in the middle. Unloads a cannon and misses to the right-hand side and pushes that Sydney lead out to 20 points at the 23-minute mark of the first.
One thing the Saints are normally pretty good at is just maintaining possession and just getting 4 or 5 short kicks all the way up the end of the ground. But Sydney aren't allowing them to do that. They're having real trouble getting it over the halfway point at the moment.
So we'll see what Sinclair can do with the footy. A couple of bounces, he runs it all the way up to the top of defensive 50, then kicks to a contest on the wing, which is where the ball will stop, with Higgins getting a free as he's brought down and swung to the ground. Hooks it across into the centre of the ground to no one in particular. Mason Wood did well to create a contest against Malik, and it falls down. It will go to Francis, though, of the Swans, and he can kick it to right half forward where Warner will mark. Has to wait momentarily for all his teammates to come flooding back into the attacking 50, and he just waits the right amount of time for Braden Campbell to present.
He's a chance from now.
Maybe he'll load up on the kick. He's going back now, so he looks.
Go on, son.
He's going to pass it off.
Have a go.
Everyone else has kicked one from outside 50.
No.
So
Here he
have a
goes.
crack.
Braden Campbell off a short approach. No, he dips the kick. He'll get it to the top of the goal square. It still stays in. Francis has got it, trying to duck and weave around Mason Wood to keep the ball in play. He does well to put it back into the 50, but Henry's there to pick it up for the Saints. Hand pass to Marshall and hand pass to Butler, and the Saints defenders are off.
Butler spring-heeled, and he kicks blindly up the wing, intercepted by McCartan right on halfway for Sydney. Comes inboard to the captain, Mills. Away with a bounce through the centre of Docklands. Offload handball to Blakey. The Lizard can't wriggle free into some space, and handball to Rowbottom. He's immediately caught by Garcia, taken high.
Yeah, first one just slipped a little bit high.
So Rowbottom plays on by hand. Mills to Blakey, and now away to Sheldrick. Kick inside forward 50. Francis has got one across the chops from Caminiti, and he will get a free kick. 40 metres out, slight angle right of centre. Aaron Francis can try for Sydney's 6th of the quarter and their 5th consecutively.
Berkey, this is what's completely costing St Kilda. They're having Swans are, I guess, exposing them, particularly in that kind of 40 to kind of 60 metres out and getting this kind of hit up leads. They're under so much pressure now. They've had probably 5 or 6 of those with shots on goal. What happens? Happens again. They give away a free kick because the pressure gets too much.
So Francis with 5-5 on the season. In his 9th game, what's the big South Australian got? That's not a great set shot away to the right-hand side. 5-3 the Swans, 2 straight. The Saints, 26 gone opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, the Swans have got 17 players in their half, all squashed up, and the Saints are just giving it back to them just like this.
Oh, Wanganeen Miller with a shocking kick outside of defensive 50. It was Henry that could recover it to McRae, to Caminiti, towards Butler, who's running now, and he just dinks the kick right to the top of the 50. It's a good result in the end as Marshall marks. 55 metres out from goal, though. He has to wait for everything to come ahead of him. We'll put a long ball right to the top of the goal square. Windhager had front position, couldn't take it. McInerney was there at the drop. The kick comes off his boot awkwardly. That wasn't what he wanted. Hastie's there to pick up for St Kilda, just kicks it across the face. And it'll bobble its way out of bounds, and it will be a throw-in at least, and a stoppage inside forward 50 for St Kilda. They're trailing Sydney by 21 points, kicked 2 of the first 3 goals of the match, and it's been the Swans ever since.
Well, they got through the press that time. It wasn't pretty, but they've got to get numbers around the ball, running numbers in hands, almost surge it forward. Can't be too precise against this Swans defence.
Grundy and Heath to tangle at the stoppage. Heath wins it down with his left hand. Heaney was on the end of it. He let it go under pressure. Butler dives on top. Umpire says mine. 20 out from the Saints goal. They trail by 21 late in this opening term. Joel Peterson, Lauren Borden, Nathan Burke, Kel Sinclair with you. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Again, Grundy and Heath lock up. Deep forward for the Saints. A repeat stoppage. Steele lays the tackle. Goulden picks it up for the Swans. McCartan goes as high and as long as he can. Looks like an NFL punter just trying to clear the danger area. And a terrific mark taken among the pack by Stocker.
That was a great mark.
55 metres out. He was in all kinds of traffic there, Liam Stocker.
Man on the mark, 52 out.
Gee, this is optimistic for a man that's kicked 2 goals 5 in his 78th game. He's going to lay it off. The 9-iron kick to the top of the square. Hasty in from the back. Almost got the ride. It's just paddled forward desperately. Spills to Garcia of the Saints. Blakey's there, 20 metres out from defensive goal. Now Sharman away to Higgins, away to Windhager. 35 out, a curling run. Clever kick to the top of the 50. Finds his skipper in Steele. And Jack Steele's got it 47 metres out directly in front.
Needs to go back and kick this just to get him, I guess, back in the game a little bit and just apply some little bit of, I guess, scoreboard pressure back on the Swans to just keep themselves in a sniff going into quarter time.
Thought he had Wanganeen Miller coming past for the offload. Jack Steele, 26 and 15 tackles last week. Can the skipper lift them going into quarter time? Unloads from 50 metres out. Kicks looks good. Kick looks great. Jack Steele gets the Saints back on the board and cuts the margin to 15 points nearing quarter time. 3 straight 18. Swans 5-3-33. 29 minutes gone opening term, and Kel Sinclair, that is just what the doctor ordered.
No, it certainly was, and I think it just looks like hard work, Berkey, for the St Kilda to actually get the ball efficiently in their forward line at the moment. But look, it just keeps them within a bit of a sniff going into quarter time. It was a desperately needed goal, and I was a little bit worried about Jack Steele. Sometimes guys are that far out from goal, they try and look to kind of, I guess, pass it off or find someone in a better position, but the captain just needed to go back and make a bit of a statement going into the quarter time break.
Their goal for the season for Jack Steele. And it is now a 15-point deficit that his side is facing against the Swans here this afternoon. Play restarts in the middle. Steele goes in after it again. He's taken in the tackle by Heaney. Can get the hand pass out to Hill, who puts it on the boot. He's looking for Owens at left half forward. He's outworked the mark by McCartan. And then Owens goes in after him on the ground. Can funnel it out towards Wanganeen Miller, who gets the footy. Good use of the ball towards Max Heath. 2 hands to it in the pocket. Couldn't take the mark, and it spills over the boundary line for a throw-in.
It was a good lead by the big fella. His ball was out in front, nice and high. Got 2 hands to it, but excellent defending there by the Swans.
204 centimetres, Max Heath. Tallest player on St Kilda's list. Went for the lead. As the ball's tossed back in, Goulden pulls it in. Hand pass to McCartan. He's tackled by 4 St Kilda players. The umpire will call play on Boxall will have a snap, and Boxall will goal. So it doesn't matter if there was any free kick, it was advantage in the end, and Boxall comes in and finishes the goal for St Kilda. And that's another little one they can add. It's 2 in a row for the Saints. And it's his first goal in the big time. So I feel like less players are coming to celebrate with him than Jack Sinclair.
Well, he kicked goal 68, which is a known milestone loss.
You're right. They'll take the 6 points either way. And it's 9 points now, Sydney's lead. It's just dwindled back to.
Oh, hang on. We might have touched.
No, they're not convinced.
That's why they didn't celebrate too heavily.
So maybe they knew something we don't.
They're all pretty confident the Swans players, weren't they?
Yeah, when it goes up instantaneously.
Well, I've written it down, so it'll be...
Oh, no, they're going back to the middle.
I was going to say it would be highly inconvenient for them to overturn it, Berkey.
Do you have the dry white out or the one that you have to wait to...
No, the dry one.
Yeah, the other one probably went out a long time ago.
There you go. Should stop the game for 5 seconds. They can all go celebrate with him again.
So it is paid. The goal has been paid. Boxall has his first goal, and the Swans lead is cut back to 9 points. 5-3, playing St Kilda 4 straight.
Back-to-back goals for the Saints. Free kick in the middle, and he's going to St Kilda and Wanganeen Miller. They feel like they've been hard done by in the early stages, the Saints fans. Wanganeen Miller takes the kick, sends it out wide, and it didn't have enough juice on it to get to Windhager, and it was an easy intercept for McInerney, running back with the flight of the footy between the wing and halfback. Pokes his kick down the line, out of play, and it just missed the target there in Sheldrick. It'll be tossed back in. Hunter Clark, the sub, as well as Riley Bice. So for St Kilda and the Swans this afternoon, there were no late changes coming in. Milestones for both Mason Wood and Rowan Marshall. Rowan Marshall is here in this ruck contest. Debuted against the Swans in round 18 of 2017. Kick clear here from Windhager, up toward half forward for the Saints, rushing across to try and track it down is Higgins, and it goes out of play. Cal, do you remember anything about that particular game?
You just sparked my memory, mate. It's probably the one game I got to play forward, actually. So
you had 2-3 Brownlow vote games in your career. This was one of them. The stats for Cal Sinclair that day and Rowan Marshall's debut: 13 kicks, 10 marks, 5 goals, 3 Brownlow votes, 8 of those marks contested. Wow! If you do not mind,
I've got a segment planned for half time to discuss it. So we'll go through.
I'm here for it.
We'll go through it then.
I'm here for it. We'll discuss how Rowan Marshall is your personal bunny.
It was Jake Carlisle, actually.
Oh,
Jake! There you go. So that's our connection into the Rowan Marshall story for today, Loz.
can't wait for that at half time.
It's the only reason I'm here.
So Grundy, another ruckman's brought down to ground in the end, and it will be a ball up, left half forward for the Saints, trailing by 9 points against Sydney as Grundy gets it and taps it away. It's a hand pass back from Sheldrick, who keeps it in play. It'll be tackling on Warner, who stops the ball from going any further. Sinclair doesn't really leave Warner alone. Gives him a little push, then gradually moves back to his position as the ball will be tossed up very close to the boundary line. Grundy palms it down, then takes it in the end. His kick overruns Buller, and Wilkie can pick it up, hand pass it to Windhager in the back half of the ground, and he's forced to retreat. Just chips towards Hill. We'll move it across to Caminiti. So slow movement from the Saints defenders late in this first term. He's looking for Steele. He wants him to come in front and take the mark. Mills was at the back and could affect the mark from being taken. Saints will emerge via Windhager. Hand pass to Butler. Dispossessed of the footy. Windhager goes in after it. Mills pulls him down to the ground. And we'll have a ball up at half forward for St Kilda. The last couple of goals of the game. And they're trailing those still by 9 points.
Closing in on quarter time. Thrown up at half forward for the Saints. Max Heath will take it out of the ruck. And it was a 20-metre handball, but it was straight up in the air pretty much. It's bobbling around at half forward. Now a chance for Hall. Max Hall around the body. Marshall had hands to it. And the quarter-time siren rings out around Docklands. It started brightly for the Saints. They kicked 2 of the first 3. The Swans then ripped off a 4-goal run. Missed a couple of opportunities that could have pushed their margin out further. It got as high as 21 in that opening term. The Saints kicked the last 2 of the quarter, and we close with a 9-point gap between these two in the middle game of a Sunday here in round 18 of the 2025 AFL season. It is 5-3-33 Sydney to the Saints 4 straight 24. Goals in that opening term, 2 to Jake Lloyd, singles to Buller, to Heaney and to McLean for Sydney. For the Saints, there was a goal in that opening term to Hugh Boxall, despite the score review. His first in league footy. Goals also to Steele, to Sinclair with a long bomb, and it was Mitch Owens that got the Saints going in the opening couple of minutes.
So it is Sydney, though, leading by 9 points at the main break. A must-win game for the Swans as that top 8 gradually gets away from them, but desperately trying to stay in touch with that top 8 if they can. The second quarter to be coming in at just a moment. It's Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
Australia's Test Tour of the West Indies is on now.
What about that? Unbelievable!
Catch every ball on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the cricket button. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Sinclair at right half forward, jams it on the boot, high footy to full forward, the big moose, he's sitting under this, Heath goes up, he has to do the ruck work in the end, taps it down, Marshall through his hands, got it to Owens and the Saints have got the first.
He puts it into the path though of Hill for the Saints, can keep it inside 50, just dinks the kick towards Sinclair, who was leading at him. He'll have to kick from 50, Jack Sinclair.
I reckon on a good day, he's just got it in him.
Stood at his mark for just a second or two to assess the kick. Has put plenty on it from 51 metres out. An absolute beauty from Jack Sinclair. Flying Viking has become a pretty popular fan favourite in just a few games that he's played for the Saints. His kick, though, will be chopped off in the forward 50 by Heaney. Snaps, goals, doesn't make a mistake there, and celebrates with the crowd too.
Grundy, who won the tap down for the Swans, away to Jordan, forward hand pass to Sheldrick, inside forward 50. That's terrific play from Sydney, and the mark is taken by Buller. Set shot kick from right at the top of the arc. He lays into it, lets it go, and it is straight and strong. It's a good weekend to be on Buller.
And there's a play on here. They go right into the goal square. Lloyd there slams it home, point blank range. There's another one for the Swans.
Away to Higgins, away to Windhager, 35 out, a curling run, clever kick to the top of the 50, finds his skipper in Steele.
Needs to go back and kick this, just to get him, I guess, back in the game a little bit.
Can the skipper lift them going into quarter time? Unloads from 50 metres out, kicks looks good, kick looks great! Jack Steele gets the Saints back on the board.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital,
and on the ABC Listen app.
The sounds of the first quarter there. 9 goals scored in the opening term at Sydney, leading by 9 points at quarter time. It's the second of 3 games played across the AFL today. In the first game, it's the Demons and the Kangaroos at the MCG. Melbourne leading by 34 points there. Perhaps might have thought it was a little closer than that, but it is the D's leading by 34 points, and there was a bit of an injury as well for Tom Sparrow, who was concussed in this final term. So a hit from Tristan Sherry, or a collision with him at least, and he was knocked out cold and stretchered from the field. So a delay in that means there's still about 4 minutes of play in the final term of that match at the MCG. But here at Docklands, it is Sydney 5-3-33 leading St Kilda 4 straight 24. Lauren Borden, Joel Peterson calling the action. Your experts are Nathan Burke and Callum Sinclair. Berkey, Cal, what did you see in that first term? It was a pretty entertaining one.
Yeah, it wasn't bad first quarter considering what we've seen over the weekend. It's high scoring, 4 goals to 3. Outstanding. First 3 quarters of that quarter was pretty much all the Sydney Swans. They got their defensive structure set up really well across the ground, and the Saints had trouble getting the ball from one end to the other. Normally they're not too bad finding the loose player, maintaining possession, but the Swans were forcing them to kick the ball long on that City side of the ground. Swans had set up really well and just gone repeat entries back inside 50. And the Saints defenders aren't overly tall, and they rely on them just sagging off and helping each other and being that third man up. Sydney were counteracting that, as you called, Cal. They were actually coming at the bloke with the football, and they took 4 or 5 just chest marks coming leading at the player with the football and holding those Saints defenders accountable. They were got themselves back into the game towards the end there with 2 really good goals, which was important. But I dare say, if you're looking at which team at the moment is playing their style of football, the way that they want to play, I think the Swans would be more impressed than what the Saints are at the moment. It's really not the Saints' style of game.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I think if you look at, I guess, how the Swans are set up behind the football, the Saints just can't move the thing. Like, how many times did we see them trying to just bite something off in the corridor or even just march the ball up in the boundary line? The Swans are just completely hot on it. Just feels like the Saints are just maybe a tall short ahead of the footy because they're all getting sucked up to that long down the line contest, and Swans are just a lot more well balanced. Based off that, they're kicking it inside 50 so much more efficiently than what the Saints are. That, I guess, we call it the gold zone when they're about kind of 40 to 60 out. They're getting that hit up, and there's not too much the Saints defenders can actually do. Jack Steele kind of got him back into the game with that terrific goal, but it's going to be a little bit tough for them. They need to find a better way to move the ball, the Saints, to I guess stay better in this game.
Sydney did look damaging for that middle part of the quarter, but then it was the Saints who were able to just bring it back and bring the margin back to single digits as we start the second term. 9 points the margin Sydney's way. It's a clearance from Heaney, who hand passes and shares it with Mills, gets the footy back and then kicks down the line. It's Rowbottom that can just get a hand pass out as he's on his hands and knees towards Hayward. Hand pass to Mills and he'll go inside 50 here. Now for the Swans, it's a shallow entry. Francis has got to battle along with Caminiti to try and get the footy. Wilkie does. His kick is just taken by Rowbottom and he'll go for goal. It'll be tapped through. And it'll be a rush behind as Warner's there on the line along with Taru. And it's just a behind to start the second quarter for the Swans. Their lead will be pushed out to double digits again. 10 points the margin. 5-4-34 playing St Kilda. 4 straight 24.
The Saints small forwards in Hall, Max Hall, 28 possessions, 3 goals last time. Hardly touched it. Butler, Higgins need to get themselves into the game.
Haven't had any impact on the contest thus far. Long kick outside the defensive 50. It spills away to Steele, who's got 10 disposals, most on the ground of anyone. Windhager's got 10 as well. He gives it to Wangadeen Miller, and then Windhager handballed it to Wangadeen Miller. He was out of bounds when he handballed it, ran back infield, kicked through the fingers of Hall to Higgins, right on cue, snaps, misses. So they all got involved in that passage of play as the Saints rocketed from one end to the other. And the finish from Jack Higgins a little bit away to the left. 9 points the margin. Both teams have scored and we've only played 80 seconds.
Aren't Port Adelaide going to love that next year?
Well, Wanganeen Miller, he had 7 in that first quarter, 6 kicks and a handball, but they weren't free like he normally runs and carries and hits targets, so they were under pressure possession, so you take 7 of those.
Lakey goes straight down the guts of the ground where Heaney will collect and he'll go through the middle too as well. Francis was standing in the forward line all by his own, but Wilkie was able to drop back. Did well to outwork Francis, win the footy, and calm things down for St Kilda, just chip it across the left back pocket where Brad Hill stands.
You ever seen 2 quarters of footy that have started in more contrasting fashion? We had 3 stoppages in about 30 seconds and now they're just playing pinball.
It's gone end to end, a little bit of a Docklands game when it's going in end to end as the ball comes right down the wing to Owens.
Another marking free kick.
So he takes the free kick, left half back for St Kilda and goes long down that city side wing. There'll be a turnover though. And it's Malikan who marks and looks a little sore as well, a bit proppy on his ankle as he takes the mark. So he'll go back on his line to kick with his right boot, but it looked like, I think it might have been his left that was a little bit sore as he goes down the line. McLean just palms it down. Roberts will go in after it for Sydney. He's beaten to the footy by his teammate in Rowbottom. Hand pass to McInerney, just dabs a little kick to Grundy at the top of the 50. Puts the kick inside to the forward pocket. Warner will run onto it. He's taken in a tackle. Pulled off the footy. Taru has to go in and help out for St Kilda. He's dived on top of, and the umpire will come in and throw the ball up very close to the boundary line, outer side of the ground, the city side of Docklands. Swans ahead by 9.
3 minutes gone in the second term. Grundy down toward the boundary line. Heaney is dragged across the boundary line by Steele. Over and out of play. 7 tackles now for Jack Steele. 4 score involvements and a goal himself in that opening term.
That's a high fend. You've got 2 umpires 5 metres away from that, and neither of them saw it.
Grundy bashes it down in ruck toward goal for the Swans. Jordan swings onto it, now to Mills, whips his kick to full forward like a cross in the round ball game. It's knocked down to Windhager, now to Taru. Had some nervous moments in the opening term. Handball away to Hill. Wangadeen Miller at the entrance of the defensive 50, kicks up the line. It's a poor kick. Blakey will chop it off for the Swans in front of the interchange. Cuts it in field. Just the required distance to McInerney. His kick then touched on the way through, looking for Rowbottom. Goulden lays the tackle on the front point of the square. It's locked up. Umpire says mine. 55 metres out from the Swans' goal. They kick to the Lockett end in this second term. They lead by 9. 4 played. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Probably not the cleanest start to a quarter that we've seen across the season. It's a little bit scrappy. Goulden takes it out, hand passes it to Heaney, who hand passes it to Mills. Just gets a hand pass away with Pintold in the footy. It was well done by Sharman to earn the free kick. Cooper wins it for the Saints. Sucks in a deep breath as well as he takes it at right half back and chips it laterally to Sinclair.
Good day for the Coopers, Loz. Boomer's young bloke kicked 4 at the MCG this afternoon. Dad on commentary for ABC Sport.
I'll have to go back and re-listen to some of it.
Well, he was very frustrated because his first shot hit the post. And I think he had a better afternoon after that, did Boom, in the ABC Sport box.
Did Boomer have a better afternoon?
Yes.
So it's all about Boomer. There's Go Wilkie, kicks down, right to left half forward. Woods there, he pulls it inside 50 towards Owens. McCartan stepped in front. Hall has a go at it as well for the Saints. He was prolific last week. I haven't seen much of him this afternoon so far, and in the end, Owens will hand it back to the umpire for a ball up inside St Kilda's forward 50.
So a chance here for the Saints, 30 out from goal. Grundy grabs it out of the ruck, offloads to Heaney, who got the kick away, and then Sinclair running laterally, almost in stride, just kicked it out toward the boundary line, over and out of bounds on the full. It's like he didn't mean to do it, he just couldn't get out of the way of the footy. He just bounced off his right boot and ends up with a penalty free kick to Aaron Francis out wide at right half back. Swans 5-4, Saints 4-1. Neither side with a goal in this second term. An aggressive kick up the middle. And Warner juggles the mark in front of Taru. Hands it off to Blakey. 70 metres from home. That's not his best effort. And Hasty gobbles it up. Geelong West Giant kicks on the bounce to Windhager. Makes it good. Handball back to Wangadeen Miller, who just lopes through the defensive 50. Kick a bit too much juice on it to Hill. Goulden was there closing to apply some pressure. And at the junction of the defensive 50, the Saints are able to see it out of play for a throw-in. Swans in their attacking half. They'll get another look at it here, 50 metres out.
Sydney leading by 9 points, the same margin they led by at quarter time. Now 6 minutes played in the second quarter. Under the roof at Docklands, Grundy puts a punch out. It's a holding free kick in the ruck contest, and we go in the way of the Swans ruck.
He's very good at that, Grundy. Playing against him for a number of years. He likes to lock you up because he's so strong to hold that front position that he locks you up, and he just kind of, I don't know how he does it, he kind of portrays this image to wrestle and somehow kind of pulls a free kick because there's no way to get around him other than kind of, I guess, pull his jumper and give him a tug.
Can I say that's a ridiculous free kick?
I wouldn't expect anything less, Berkey.
You can't criticise umpires.
And in the end, it comes straight to Heath.
And they're after him. They're doing it.
It's on actually at the top of the 50. Pulling down. Sharman's come to the turn. So Grundy has tried to do the quick movement, dodge left and right.
I played in the Port Melbourne VFL Legends match last week, and I tried that, and I pulled it off.
Well, there we go. Wangadeen Miller takes it. Streams right through the centre of Dockland Stadium.
They deserve a goal.
Inside 50. Can they finish?
They deserve a goal.
Here? Sinclair curling it. Bounce off to the left. They can't finish with the goal.
Get the showers, Brody.
Big man's got nose limitations.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the brain. We've all had them. Like, trust me, I've had a couple, but you just walk back to your position after that and you go, what was I thinking?
I knew we were going to get a moment today, Berkey, with you sitting next to a former ruck, where something would happen and we'd all just look at each other and go, what's Berkey going to do here?
I respect Ruckman greatly, Joel.
Always have and always will. Swans bring it back into play. 8-point lead for Sydney. Kick up toward Grundy. He couldn't latch onto it this time. Garcia off to Henry, who looks like he's out there in his training top, that long sleeve. Now they edge the kick inside the 50. Owens grabbed when he didn't have it. Free kick. Mitch Owens will take the free. Saints fans thought it was worth 50 as Errol Goulden dropped the ball on top of him.
I've noticed Berkey being a bit standoffish towards me.
Well, Brody Grundy he's just making my point for me.
You've got to know when your ambitions and your capabilities are around the wrong way. And Brodie found out in an awful hurry there. Here's Mitch Owens.
Moving on.
Set shot from out wide. Gee, started a long way right. And it had a bit of a hook about it. Lucky it did, because that was just about going down the race.
But we won't criticise him, will we? For that. We won't worry about that,
Judging by those stats you've handed me on a piece of paper before about the 5 goals. But you're a full forward. You're a full forward, mate.
Moving on.
You've got to laugh sometimes as Tom McCartan brings the footy out towards Lloyd at right half back. He just kicks it back towards Wicks. He shares it in the back line with McCartan, kicks across to Blakey, and they're switched it across the dockside of Dockland Stadium. Kicks down to Haywood, who's got his head strapped after a blood rule, and he's got the bandage around his head. It's punched over the boundary line for a throw-in. So it'll be right in front of St Kilda's bench.
I think Heaney might be Owens and Heaney have thrown a few haymakers there.
Anything to be worried about? Or
I reckon there might be a little look at that.
There you go. It was definitely more than pushing and shoving after that. So it's tossed back in. There is Grundy, who kind of started it all by running into the man on the mark. It's tapped down towards Sheldrick. It spills over the boundary line, and it'll be a free going to Garcia. So he'll get set up just outside the boundary line. It is the Swans leading by 8 points. No goal scored yet in this second term. 10 minutes played. And it's been three behinds, and out of bounds on the full to start as the kick comes down from Garcia. And it'll be punched down, and it'll be a boundary throwing this time at half forward for the Saints.
It's really hard to get a rhythm on this game of how it's being played and what each side is trying to do. I think the defensive structures on both sides are really dominating, and the attacking side of it, maintaining possession, they're just really having trouble. It's a tough one to watch.
Australian Football Hall of Famer Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Clearing kick for the Saints from the stoppage. Windhager got it to Butler, who sprawls forward at the top of the 50, and a couple of options on the offload. And he's going to go back into the centre square. What do you think of the leg of Dan Butler here, Berkey?
Well, I picked the Jack Sinclair one perfectly.
That's why I asked. You're in good form.
No, he'll lob it. He doesn't look like he trusts himself.
He's got a bit of a lobber characteristic about him, so he does go the lob. Is anyone on the end of it? Almost Roberts for the Swans, and then Higgins did his best to throw that back into play. It went through for a behind before he could. So that margin down to 7 points now. Sydney 5-4, Saints 4-3, 11.5 gone, second quarter.
Quickly try and bring the footy into half forward. In the end, it'll be coming straight back into the forward line for the Saints. It's Sheldrick, though, that'll mop it up and collect for Sydney. He clears the footy out from defence towards Cavanini. Free kick holding. And it's the Saints defender, or forward turn defender, that gets the footy and kicks right behind the two centre circles to Wilkie. We'll find Turu on the outer side of the ground. Just chips it to left half forward, hoping for a mark to come. It doesn't. It'll spill down though, and it might work for Wood, who hand passed it back to Garcia. Hand pass to Turu, who's trying to flick the ball away again to Boxhall. Couldn't gather it. Turu goes in after it and can dig it out. Hand pass it stolen by Roberts though. Tahini, his kick a smother. And that means that the ball won't be going any further than 55 metres away from St Kilda's goal. You can hear a warm round of applause there for that.
You are right, Burke. It is hard to get a read on, I guess, who's actually playing well this kind of quarter.
On Regal, former Swan, Cal Sinclair alongside Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sport. Joel Peterson, Lauren Borden calling the action for you as the Swans come off half-back, kick up toward Buller. Caminiti's across to smack it out of play. Centre of the city wing will get it tossed in.
And that might be an example there of I guess, maybe what was said at quarter time. They need to stop those sort of hit-ups and not allowing the Swans to lower their eyes. So a bit more intent there to get over the line to spoil.
Swans kicked 4 goals unanswered in that first term to take a 21-point lead. Saints kicked the last 2 of the opening term. And we've played 12 minutes and haven't had one here in the second. Free kick coming here to Boxall, who kicked his first goal in league footy in that opening term. The first-year player out of Claremont in the West. Drops it on the right boot, inside the forward 50. Owens pushed past it, bounced off the bonce of Wicks. It goes to Butler, high up and down the mine shaft to full forward. Henry with the front on contact. No, not paid. Spills away to Campbell. Now to Goulden inside the defensive 50. Terrific handball. He just dropped it into the bucket for Campbell, who comes sprinting off half-back. Whacks his kick to the AFL logo broadcast side. Stocker brought it down for the for the Saints, but it was only Swans there. Cunningham now away to Sheldrick. Gallops through left half forward. Sees Warner burning back toward goal. Warner goes upstairs, can't take the mark, spills away to Garcia, with him every step of the way. He clears defensive 50 for the Saints, and Wanganeen Miller gets crunched but takes the mark between the wing and half back.
Well done from Wanganeen Miller there, who hasn't been like he does so often. He just plays on, darts the kick across to Liam Henry, who marks, and Wanganeen Miller keeps running to get the hand pass back from his teammate. Dodges around his opposition, then puts the kick towards Sharman, just through his fingertips. Doesn't matter. He recovers and boots it through. There we go, the opening goal of the second term, and it's going the way of the Saints. And that means that the margin has been cut back to just one behind. It's the Saints working their way back into this match. And now it's only 1 point in it. Sydney's advantage, 5-4-34. St Kilda, 5-3-33. Finally a goal in the second term. 14 minutes have passed in the second.
He's fighting his way through that tag, I think, really well. Particularly, that first quarter was probably tough for him, but definitely finding some more footing now. Wanganeen Miller, I guess, being really smart, kind of keeping his feet, bursting away, just the overlap handball that he gets. Like, I think the Swans would have scouted that midweek, so you've got to check this guy left, right and centre, because he just doesn't give up his run.
No, two outstanding kicks. It was a contested mark to start with. He actually came off the bench, so his tag was a little bit late getting on the ground when he came off the bench, took the contested mark, and then just two outstanding kicks to his teammates' advantage and a goal.
Such damaging boots, Wanganeen Miller. I don't know what colour you'd call them. I'm not sure I'd call them teal. Ooh. That could be a sign. All back in the middle, Heath and McLean doing battle. Heath follows up. Nice stuff from the first game. They got it off to Hasty. Hasty wobbles the kick inside forward 50. Wanganeen Miller out between his knees. It is paid.
One called play on and one called a mark.
So low down, he's taken it with the hands down between his knees. He went to ground under the pressure from Jordan. Has he clutched this in his feet or?
I think he got it between his knees. Went through the hands. Hit the ground. Hit the ground. The umpire with the best view actually said a mark. The one on the other side without the best view called play on. It definitely hit the ground.
Nonetheless, Isaiah Wanganeen Miller will have the shot. The 3 behinds last week. Here's the facet that he's added to his game this season. And he's just continued to blossom. He skips in from outside the 50, takes on Jordan on the mark, takes on another, got tackled by Sheldrick, caught holding the ball. It wasn't quite Brodie Grundy-esque. It had a little bit more pizzazz to it than that. He got caught nonetheless, and a free kick to the Swans inside the defensive 50.
You've got a free hit there, Carl, if you want to take it at a half-back midfielder.
I'm going to be the bigger person. Just let it go. You know what I mean?
The Saints recover the footy down at centre wing. Hasty doing his best to keep it in. He's in a battle with Campbell. He tried to tap it a few times, but pretty happy to see that one over the boundary for a throw-in.
In Bergey's defence, at least he looked like he was going to pull it off. You know what I mean? But
he got around one.
Yeah.
He actually got around two. It was the third one that got him. Got a little bit greedy. Probably should have just settled with getting around one.
He got about 75% further than Brodie Grundy, but just couldn't make it the full 100% as it's tossed in. McLean takes it. He hand passes it back to Campbell. Hand passes it to Sheldrick, close up against the boundary. Can weave the ball back inboard. It's tapped away by Caminiti. It'll work for Francis here, though, for Sydney until he is tackled by Hill right over the boundary. He's swung over it, and it'll be a boundary throw-in at half forward for the Swans. So a good tackle there from Hill to stop the footy from going any further. It is Sydney leading by a point. St Kilda have scored the only goal in this second quarter off the boot of Cooper Sharman.
Lauren Borden, Joel Peterson with you on ABC Sport. Cal Sinclair, Nathan Burke, your experts. All tossed back in. Heath down decisively in front spot. Henry outside of the boot was clever to steal. The Saints skipper sends them to half forward. Marshall sitting under a terrific mark back with the fly. Judged it beautifully. Did the man from Portland. Plays on by hand. Windhager, now Steele, off a step, high kick, edge of the 50, going back with the fight is Mackinnon. He had the arm ripped down there, no free kick. That was an odd sequence. Butler came charging up, pulled him down. Butler's gone down sore. And the Swans will come off half back now through Sheldrick. A wide kick from Hayward, just lobs it into the arms of Roberts at half back. He wants to play on by hand and does to Jordan. Jordan knocks it out wide to Lloyd on the centre of the City wing.
That went from one side of the ground to the other, stuck on the wing, and now it's a slow ball forward. It's not the way the Swans move the ball, but good defence by the Saints.
A couple of kicks from Lloyd in the first quarter, puts it inside 50, looking for Heaney, goes behind him. Stocker wrapped up by McLean. That'll be a ball up right at the top of the 50, the Lockett end side of Dockland Stadium, where the St Kilda cheer squad is, but where Sydney's kicking in this term. Stocker goes in after it again, the ball spills out behind him. It'll come the way of Steele, who hand passes it to Wood. Just a high skying ball down the wing, gets it almost to centre wing. Marshall taps it down, Wanganeen Miller takes it, wants to go on for a run, but he's pulled back. It's a free kick going the way of Malikan and the Swans. So Malikan will have it right at centre wing, on that outer side of the ground. Just chips it to Cunningham. So Cunningham's just on the edge of the centre square. His side leading by a point after leading by 9 points at quarter time. Chips it across to Roberts. Moves the footy on to Rowbottom.
This is good from the Swans, trying to find something.
So they are going that slow approach. Rowbottom goes into pocket. He was looking for Heaney. Wilkie was there at the drop to take it. Just chip it out wide to Marshall. Underground hand pass towards McRae. Kicks it along to Steele, who marks in the outer wing.
Coming up for disposal, number 14, Jack Steele. Plays on in field. It was an awkward bounce. He worked it nicely to Wood. Wood marks on the edge of the 50. And he's got a long left boot when he needs it. Pokes it into the pocket for Hall, who continued to gallop on for the Saints. And Max Hall has marked left forward pocket, 40 from home. The man who, over the last 4 weeks, has been the top-rated player in the competition, according to the numbers. What can he do from this spot?
Probably the first time they've looked, I guess, somewhat composed there to go inside 50 St Kilda. So hopefully they reap the benefits of this with his shot on goal.
Hall to give them the lead. Kick's going to be short and across the face, and McLean was the only man within cooey of the thing. He takes the mark on the behind line. Still the Swans by a point, 5-4 to 5-3. 21 minutes gone here in this second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
The kick comes out to half back. It'll be coming back in though, because Mason Wood marked it on his hands and knees in his 150th game, 5th season at the Saints after playing 7 at North Melbourne. He's intercepted the footy, and from 55 metres out, tries to put it right into the hot spot. Warner went up, couldn't mark it. Hall has a chance, hand pass to McRae. Just gets a hand pass across to Hasty. Rowbottom does well to try and take it out of his hands. Windhager gets it, just skies a footy up and gets the kick away as much as he can. Campbell picks it up, hand pass to Warner, and he tries to go out towards Errol at half back again. It's Wood who comes in to try and spoil the footy. Spoiled against Malikan in the end it was, and Wood wins back the footy, so wins it in the same position as before, and he chips this one to Steele, who's marked just inside the 50. It'll be a tough kick, but he looks like he's going back to take it.
It's almost like the team going to the left of us is going into a big 5-goal breeze. They just can't get any flow together. They're just sort of banging the ball. They're trying to maintain possession, but it's really hard and sloppy. And the team going to the right just have a little bit more time and space and ability to use the ball, getting the ball inside 50. It's a weird game still.
Saints have had a couple of opportunities to put a score on the board in the last few minutes. They have it. Steele takes a set shot at goals, and this time it's a score. It's just rushed through though. So it'll be a minor one, but it does mean scores are all locked up at Docklands. 5-4-34 apiece, 22 minutes played in the second term. It's Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. Here's Joel Peterson.
So the Swans struggling to find the scoreboard here in this second term. Coming off half-back, Roberts has turned it over. Hall with a chance. Handball inside the forward 50. Higgins pounces on it. Curls it around the body.
Free kick.
And it's a free kick coming back.
Well, the Saints are playing the way the Swans played in that first quarter of this part of the ground, Brandon. Like, they're setting up a bit better. They're getting a lot more repeats coming back inside 50, and the Swans just can't move the footy.
Free kick against Heath for grabbing Goulden across the shoulder. Spotted by Nathan Burke alongside Cal Sinclair, our ABC Sport experts this afternoon. There's Matt Roberts, the man from Langhorne Creek in regional South Australia. Drives the kick long down the line toward Caminiti and out of play.
What's the population of Langhorne Creek, Joel?
Not many people, but a lot of grapes, Loz.
A lot of grapes.
Big wine growing region.
What type of grapes?
Bit of red, bit of white. I think it's more known for its white than its red. But there is a winery there that, and no brand names here on there. They're national broadcast, but makes a very nice Shiraz.
Oh, there you go.
So that's a little tip for you. Next time you're in South Australia, down to Langhorne Creek.
It's important information we need to know on a Sunday afternoon. It's a chilly day in Melbourne. You might be sitting down with maybe a glass of red and following along the game as the ball is tossed back in. It'll be another stoppage though. Right on the AFL logo where the umpire will toss it up. Scores are level. Grundy taps it away. He was looking for Rowbottom, who ends up doing the tackling on McRae. And it's holding the footy against McRae. There we go. So his face is in the dirt as he gets up. And Rowbottom will take the free kick. Spins around, puts it on his right boot. It's a long kick inside the forward pocket. Up the top is McLean. Takes a contested mark, almost makes it look unopposed. But two hands, clunks the grab, and this will be a shot at goal for the Swans.
I think based on 2021 census data, Langhorne Creek has got a population of 444.
Oh, it's a thriving metropolis.
Off the top of your head too.
443 now because the young fella's here.
So Tatum McLean will take this kick now. 45-degree angle, about 40 metres out to put the Swans back in front. He lines up the goal. He just squeezes this one to the right-hand side. Almost looked like it was coming back, but just behind, the Swans do go ahead by that score. It's Sydney 5-5-35, St Kilda 5-4-34. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
It was a powerful contested mark. Some might say Callum Sinclair style for the Swans against the Saints. Long kick up the line out of defence for St Kilda. Sharman pulls it in on the second grab. To Hall, handball down low, looking for Stocker. They've mucked it up in the middle here, the Saints. They might still have a chance to work it out. Sinclair goes after the footy. Taken away by Boxall. Handball back to Garcia. Left foot kick inside the arc. Marshall trying to make space. Grundy gets there first. 30 from home. They were holding. And it was Marshall holding Grundy on that occasion. So the top-knotted Swan will take it from inside the defensive 50. That's the slowest Nick Blakey's ever moved as he just ambles past, gives the handball away, almost a free kick for the Saints inside the forward 50. They've almost turned it over again. Marshall bobbles it up, got it to Hall, snaps and goals. Gee, you wouldn't put it in the textbook, but you don't have to paint pictures. Max Hall's got a goal. The Saints have got an injury concern inside the 50, and they are back in front by 5 points. 6-4-40 to the Swans, 5-5-35. 26 and a half gone, second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Your experts are Nathan Burke and Cal Sinclair.
Not sure who it is on the ground.
Butler.
There,
Is it Loz? Dan
It
Butler?
looked like Dan Butler. The physio's just standing in front of him, but it did look like Dan Butler.
Looks like his boots.
Yeah, he's laying in an awkward position. It's hard to tell whether it's his shoulder. He's cradling that right arm or left arm. He's getting to the there might be a bit of a dislocated shoulder.
Yeah, it is Dan Butler.
I think it was the big Max Heath 204 centimetre fella might have fell on top of his own player, but good goal there by the Saints. Just sloppy play by the Swans coming out of the back line there. As you called it, Blakey was just sort of trotting out. It was a sloppy handball at the feet of his teammate, and the Saints pounced. But I can imagine what John Longmire might be saying up in the box if he was still coaching with that sort of play. I don't think he'd like sort of players just taking it lazy, a little bit easy.
particularly with Nick Blakey. I'll have been present to a few of Nick Blakey's sprays over his time, but yeah, an unusual one. Not sure if he had much ahead of the ball to look at the time, but probably a bit of reward for, I guess, the Saints' hard work. I think defensively they've been pretty balanced, I guess, behind the footy, and I guess they've had a fair few repeats and turnovers and Swans forward decision making.
I'm no doctor, but that's a dislocated elbow.
Yeah, that's nasty. I've got a bit of tennis elbow at the moment, actually.
I've just got over it for about 8 months. So, sorry, mate, you've got to wait your time. There's no fix I've found.
Right, there we go. So back in the middle. It is Sydney that press again. Errol has the footy. He's taken in a tackle. Did he get rid of the footy quick enough? No, says the umpire. Gordon is penalised. And it's a free kick going the way of Max Hall.
Yeah, Max Hall just coming into the game now a little bit. Was not much in that first quarter, but this will be his third shot for goal already this quarter.
3 goals and 27 touches last week. An incredible performance from Max Hall. He's got the most recent goal and he looks to be lining up for another one. We're about 52 metres out. He might back himself from here. Directly in front of goal. Max Hall, a good kick. There's everything on this and it is sailed through. What a finish from Hall. 2 in a row. And that was a beautiful kick coming from Hall from 52 metres out. And Max Hall has got 2 in a row. And St Kilda's lead is pushed out to 11 points. So from trailing by 9 at quarter time, they're now in front by 11 as we near half time. The Saints 7-4-46. The Swans 5-5-35. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
The Swans have just lost all semblance of how they want to play and move the football. It's just getting the ball. They're trying to over-invent things. They're just taking the easy sideways kick. Really struggling to get the ball inside 50. And I think a lot of it's come from just the added pressure that the Saints are bringing this quarter that they didn't really bring in that first quarter. That was just a great tackle, a quick kick out of the middle. Their midfielders swarming forward. Their pressure has really upped at the moment, and the Swans are struggling to handle it.
I reckon they've switched off a little bit as well, the Swans. Like, they're playing a little bit more dirty surge footy, I guess, particularly in that last few minutes, the Saints, and I think they're getting rewarded for, I guess, the high-pressure game this quarter.
3 goals in a row, and it's the biggest lead the Saints have had in the game at 11. Free kick in the middle here. So last chance for the Swans here in this first half. Heaney takes it from the centre circles, pumps it inside the forward 50. Hayward goes upstairs. It's knocked back toward the behind line. And Taru's happy to rush it across for a minor score. Makes that margin 10 points the way of the Saints. Past half an hour in this second term.
So footy will be brought back in by Sinclair. He's just standing around within the goal square, then chooses to go right and run along the back pocket and launch the kick out of defensive 50 as the siren sounds to mark the main break at Docklands Stadium. It was a quarter, like Joel said, where St Kilda had the sway. They kicked the only 3 goals of that term, and Sydney unable to put a major on the board and just one behind, in fact. So it means that 9-point deficit at quarter time for St Kilda has been turned into a 10-point lead at the main break. St Kilda 7-4-46, leading Sydney 5-6-36 with an injury to Dan Butler, a potential dislocated elbow, a concern.
Only the second quarter that the Saints have won this year. So they had won 2 of their 16 second quarters coming into today, and they were losing them by an average of 8 points. They were the worst team in the competition after quarter time, St Kilda, and they've turned that around in a big way there, holding the Swans goalless.
They have turned around that stat and taken the lead as well. So it is St Kilda ahead by 10 points. The goal kickers so far in the match for St Kilda, a couple to Max Hall, the last 2 goals of that term that did put the Saints back into the lead, and then singles to Sharman, Sinclair, Owens, Steele and Hugh Boxhall with his first in AFL footy. That came in the first term. While for Sydney, all their goals came in that first term, so no change to their goal kickers. Jake Lloyd with a couple, Jack Buller with 1, Isaac Heaney and Hayden McLean with singles. So it is St Kilda ahead by 10 points here at Docklands. In the earlier game at the MCG, it was Melbourne that took out that win by 36 points. A bit of a sickening concussion there to Tom Sparrow, who was stretchered off, but Melbourne with the win at the MCG. Here at Docklands, it is St Kilda ahead by 10 points, and at halftime we'll have thoughts about ABC experts Nathan Burke and Callum Sinclair.
Well, Cal, it was a bit of a change from that first quarter. The first quarter, it was the Swans bringing the pressure and the Saints were really struggling to move the ball. That reversed in that quarter. The Saints brought the pressure, and it was the Swans really struggling to get the ball from one end of the ground to the other. And the Saints took them a while to capitalise on the scoreboard, but sort of broke it open in that last 6 or 7 minutes by managing to snag a few and getting their noses in front. So 3 goals to none in that quarter. And a lot of it's come from their midfield. Windhager has been really good. He's been tough in the pack, but also getting the ball on the outside. Jack Steele playing probably one of his better games so far this year. Wanganeen Miller just brought a little bit of class on the outside, a little bit more in that quarter. quarter, and the small forwards, who we said weren't really sighted in that first quarter with Hall and Higgins and Butler, just started to bring themselves into the game a little bit. And if they weren't having shots, Mason Wood is another one up forward, really unsighted in that first quarter. Set up a wall, kicked the ball back inside 50 numerous times. So their forwards started to play well, and that ended up 3 goals. It's not a huge return for their real dominance, I suppose, but it was enough to get themselves back in front. But the Swans, to me, it looked like they couldn't really wait till half-time because they just lost their way.
I think what's interesting, you look at the hit-out count, 28 to the Swans to 11 St Kilda. But in terms of the clearances, the Saints have actually kind of equalised, 18 clearances apiece. So I think it goes back to your point. I think those St Kilda midfielders are really just finding their way into the game. But it's just been such a patchy game to, I guess, judge, I reckon, in that first half. Like, the Swans kind of played probably how St Kilda played in that first quarter. They kind of just hung in there, if that might have made sense. But Wanganeen Miller, I think, was the one that quarter. He, although he hasn't had possession count game in that kind of first half, he's just kind of had a little bit of an influence now. He's kind of, I guess, working through that tag that, I guess, Jordan's running pretty hard on him on. But overall, it's a very, very patchy game. I'm not too sure about, I guess, who I think you'd be, I guess, say is leading the game from an overall kind of, I guess, perspective in terms of how they're actually playing. But the efficiency thing, the efficiency disposals is what I question, I guess, by St Kilda in that first quarter. But they've wrestled that back, 72% disposal efficiency apiece. Now, that's pretty handy, pretty high, I would say, for both sides. But it comes back to, I guess, capitalising in front of goal. Ill discipline by St Kilda in that kind of first quarter, and I think you would say a little bit of ill discipline from the Swans. Nick Blakey's one was just, borderline unusual to see him kind of behave like that. But must say the highlight, Berkey, for a bit of light, a bit of softness was Brodie Grundy's attempt at the outside 50. Now, I think you've got a bit of a bone to pick from what I'm hearing. Happy to hear your thoughts.
No, I just like ruckmen who know their limitations.
Yep.
Should ruckman bounce, Berkey?
Never
can't look me in the eye.
Well, never bounce the ball, and the other one's probably a little bit controversial. Never handball to them.
Right. Okay.
You might have been the exception, Kel.
Bouncing was very frightening. I'm not going to lie. It was a very frightening.
It was a long way down, a long way up. I'll give you that much.
No.
But handballing to the ruckman, especially when they're standing still, in my history, is fraught with danger. But, give me a good one any day of the week.
But in all seriousness, that, I guess, attempt from Grundy, it's somewhat, I guess, reignited the crowd, but also the energy of actually the Saints guys to, I guess, potentially get them back in this game. So, although I'm kind of making fun of it, sometimes it only takes a couple of those moments to kind of galvanise and energise the team. And, hey, maybe that might have been a small factor in getting the Saints some ascendancy in that second quarter. Who knows? Yeah,
and it was young Max Heath who ended up laying the tackle and getting the free kick. So the players are probably up and about. You've tackled Brodie Grundy and brought him to the ground. And
how would you assess his first half, Max Heath, as a coach?
Look, he's competed well.
Yeah.
That's all I'd really want of him, is to put himself in a position where the ball's coming to him.
Yep.
I don't care if you don't take a whole bunch of contested marks, but it's about reading the play and getting yourself into a spot where you're actually going for the mark at least. Quite often, a little bit, the ball's gone long and he might be 5, 6, 7, 8 metres away from it. So second half, let's read it a bit better and close down those 5, 6 metres. And if you can clunk one or two, fantastic. But it's about reading the play and getting to where the ball's going.
In the role that he plays, I always found it really, I guess, somewhat challenging, because you are going to have to start a forward and play, and I guess play, a key position ahead of the ball. But sometimes you might only get 5 or 6 minutes as a forward. You're then coming off the ground for 5 or 6 minutes, and you might not get enough. You might only get one opportunity to, I guess, have a contest. Then you're going in the ruck for another 5 or 6 minutes, he's coming up against Brodie Grundy, but I think he's been competitive. I think he's given away a couple of free kicks, but it's an interesting kind of triangle rotation that he has to sort of play. But, it takes time for the young fella, and I really do hope he clunks a couple in this second half.
Yeah, he's got to find a way to jump in the middle, because Brodie Grundy is very quick at not letting him jump. So he virtually starts as close as he possibly can at that centre bounce to him, goes and locks him up, uses his strength. if Max can find a way, move around the centre circle, don't have to stand still in one spot, keep moving. Brody's not going to know. If you run and jump at 204 centimetres, well, you're going to jump over a Brodie Grundy. So at the moment, he's allowing Brodie to play in the ruck the way that he wants to play.
And I'm actually a little bit critical of the umpire with Brodie Grundy. He is crossing that line so aggressively to literally take the space. Now, he's probably had a few lucky bounces where, it stays within his eye line, but I honestly completely agree with you. He does need to find a way to, compete a little bit better to actually give his midfielders the first advantage in the air.
So do you think he's kind of... Well, you said it. He's a smart player in the way he's working to get his free kick. Like maybe some small forwards would do it, that they just not drop the head, but he's doing the equivalent in the ruck. Is that kind of what you're saying, that he's working for the free kick? Yeah,
look, I think Brodie Grundy, with his age, he's had to kind of re-strategise how he goes about that centre bounce. I don't think I've seen him... I watched a lot of Swans footy this year. I don't think I've seen him jump that much, to be honest, at all. I think the way he's kind of playing at the moment is, one, it's to his strength. He's extremely strong and very, very, powerful through the hips. So he's a very, very hard guy to move. But also, it's probably somewhat going to save his career a little bit, in all seriousness. If you can, minimise the amount, you can jump, throughout an entire game or throughout an entire season, your recovery from a game is just so much better. Not many guys have got kind of the ruck craft to play like Grundy at the moment. He's worked it out pretty well. It is his strength. I don't think he's probably jumping as what he probably could early in part of his career. He's been around a long time now. Yep. So, but no, couldn't agree more. A young ruckman, it's probably got a little bit old school. Knee up into him, son, and see if you can actually, make him uncomfortable, because he does not want to be, caught under the footy with a young buck jumping on his head.
Yeah, it's interesting, the Saints too. Rowan Marshall, as you called it, any chance he gets to run forward and drag Brodie Grundy into Brodie's defence, they're taking it, and taking it as deep as they possibly can. So what we haven't seen at all today is the Swans being able to use Brodie on the way out. And I think that's probably hurting him as well. When they do have to go long, it's McLean and these guys coming out of the forward line to contest that long kick. Yeah. Whereas normally you'd have Brodie doing that and then McLean down forward when they win that one from Brodie. So smart move by the Saints big men to get Brodie out of the play around the ground.
Exactly right. I'm just looking at kind of some stats here, disposals-wise. The Swans don't really kick into some big numbers till about Callum Mills at kind of 12.
There you have it, the thoughts of our experts at halftime. Cullen Sinclair and Nathan Burke will have more of their expert analysis to come in the second half. At halftime, it is St Kilda leading by 10 points, 7-4-46, leading the Swans 5-6-36. We'll be back in just a moment for the second half. But first, let's head for a trip to the ABC newsroom.
ABC News, good afternoon. I'm William Howard. The Prime Minister has faced questions about the role Australia would play in a conflict over Taiwan on the first full day of his official visit to China. The Financial Times newspaper has reported a senior US defence official, Elbridge Colby, has been pushing Australia to clarify its position. Mr. Colby has also posted on social media the US is urging allies to step up their defence spending and other efforts related to collective defence. Speaking in Shanghai, Anthony Albanese says Australia has maintained a policy on Taiwan.
I think it's important that we have a consistent position, which Australia has had for a long period of time. We support the status quo when it comes to Taiwan. We don't support any unilateral action there. We have a clear position.
A man is in police custody after allegedly assaulting a driver with an axe before hijacking the car, sparking a major pursuit across the New South Wales south coast. Romy Gilbert reports.
A woman remains in hospital in a serious condition after being assaulted by a man with an axe, kicked out of her car and ran over on Saturday afternoon. Police attended a street at Warragee near Nowra after reports a 25-year-old man was armed with an axe and hammer. It's alleged the man threw the axe at police before retrieving it and escaping on foot to a nearby Mustang, where a 66-year-old woman inside was thrown out and assaulted. Police say they pursued the driver from Nowra to Kiama, where speeds allegedly reached 180 kilometres an hour before the car crashed into a truck. Police allege members of the public held the driver down until they arrived. Investigations are ongoing.
Victoria Police has charged 4 people after they allegedly kidnapped, assaulted and then dumped a man in bushland in the Bendigo area. Joshua Allen reports.
Police say on June 9th, a 26-year-old man was forced into a car and assaulted before being taken to an address in Kangaroo Flat, where he was assaulted again before being forced back into the vehicle and dumped on a bush track, where he was found in a critical condition by a bushwalker. On June 19th, police arrested 2 men in their 30s and a woman. They're charged with offences including false imprisonment and intentionally causing injury and have been remanded to face court in September. Police also arrested a 27-year-old man yesterday and he's charged with multiple offences including kidnapping, false imprisonment and armed robbery and remanded to face court tomorrow.
The President of the European Commission is warning consumers and businesses on both sides of the Atlantic will be hurt by new tariffs on EU exports announced by US President Donald Trump. Europe and Mexico are the latest targets of Mr. Trump, who's also announced higher duties on 25 countries he says are exploiting the US. The Mexican President, Claudia Sheinbaum, says the tariffs are unfair.
We are going to reach an agreement with the United States government and, of course, achieve better terms. I have always said that in these cases, you need to keep a cool head to face any problem. But I also feel very confident because there is something we have in the government. We represent our people. We represent the dignity of Mexican people.
Intense fighting has been raging in the Sudanese city of Al Fasher, where the army is trying to repel an offensive by the Parliamentary Rapid Support Forces. The RSF took parts of the only city outside their control in the Darfur region on Friday before the army counterattacked. The BBC's Julian Bedford reports.
For weeks, the UN has been trying to broker a ceasefire in Darfur in a bid to get aid into a region where famine has taken hold. It's failed, and now the fighting has escalated. First, the paramilitary RSF began shelling the city before, on Friday, attacking from the south and west. They claim to have seized positions including a police headquarters and the main livestock market. On Saturday, the army counterattacked. The civilian population is again bearing the brunt of the conflict, not only from the shelling, but from the acute shortages of food, water and medicine.
An investigation is underway in France after a prisoner smuggled himself out of a jail inside a bag. The 20-year-old convict is said to have concealed himself inside the luggage of his cellmate being released after serving his time. The incident has occurred at Corbas prison outside the city of Lyon. And aides to Britain's King Charles and his son Prince Harry have been seen meeting in London amid reports of an attempt to mend relations. And you're up to date with the very latest ABC News.
First gig, favourite party tune. Every Aussie song comes with a memory. And on July 26, Triple J and Double J will be counting them down.
Hottest 100 of Australian songs.
Vote for yours now at abc.net.au/Triple J.
The ABC Listen app has it all. The British and Irish Lions Tour of Australia, Wimbledon, and West Indies versus Australia. Oh, and did I mention we're doing the footy every weekend? ABC Sport on the ABC Listen app. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Well done from Wanganeen Miller there, who has it as luck he does so often. He just plays on, darts the kick across to Liam Henry, who marks, and Wanganeen Miller keeps running to get the hand pass back from his teammate. Dodges around his opposition, then puts the kick towards Sharman, just through his fingertips. Doesn't matter. He recovers and boots it through.
It's the slowest Nick Blakey's ever moved as he just ambles past, gives the handball away. Almost a free kick for the Saints inside the forward 50. They've almost turned it over again. Marshall bobbles it up, got it to Hall, snaps and goals. Gee, you wouldn't put her in the textbook, but you don't have to paint pictures.
Back in the middle, it is Sydney that press again. Errol has the footy. He's taken in a tackle. Did he get rid of the footy quick enough? No, says the umpire. Goulden is penalised, and it's a free kick going the way of Max Hall.
Yeah, Max Hall just coming into the game now a little bit. Was not much in that first quarter, but this will be his third shot for goal already this quarter.
We're about 52 metres out. He might back himself from here. Directly in front of goal. Max Hall, a good kick. There's everything on this, and it is sailed through. What a finish from Hall. 2 in a row. And that was a beautiful kick coming from Hall from 52 metres out.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
All of those 3 goals there you just heard went all the way of St Kilda as they work back from a 9-point deficit at quarter time to take a lead at half time. They're in front by 10 points here at their home ground. At Docklands, trying to win their first game since June the 1st. So 6 weeks ago was the last time they won in the Alice, and Sydney looking to keep their finals hopes alive. It's Lauren Borden and Joel Peterson calling the action here at Docklands. We've got Callum Sinclair and Nathan Burke in the experts chair. It's the second game on this Sunday of footy across the AFL. The earlier game saw Melbourne defeat North Melbourne by 34 points. A concussion, 36 points rather, a concussion to Tom Sparrow. Might see Tristan Sherry in a little bit of hot water for that collision. Some other news from around the footy world. Essendon have confirmed that it's an ACL rupture for Nick Martin. So a prolific ball user for the Bombers. Didn't look good last night, and they have confirmed that it's an ACL. So another long-term injury for Essendon, coming in the way of an ACL for Nick Martin, and a Liz Frank injury for Will Setterfield. So he went off in the last quarter with a foot injury. He'll miss the remainder of the 2025 season. And here at Docklands, it is a dislocated elbow for Dan Butler. So he's been subbed off at half time, meaning Hunter Clark will come into the action for St Kilda.
Hey, Loz, can Essendon do the AFLW style top-up list and bring a few sort of VFL players in or something?
Are the Bendigo Bombers still in action?
Yeah, well, they're just about at that stage.
Well, I think they've used 40 players across the season so far. So there's not many left. It's probably leading up to a 13th debuting player, which will be their most since, 1974 was when they had 12. They would equal that, so it will be the most in their history. They bring in a 13th player. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is not good news for the Bombers at all.
I don't know if you like your sleep, Joel, or Australia and West Indies has just started, the third test. About to have a child, Loz, so I like my sleep at the moment. This is, I thought you were going to lead into a little bit of practice here.
No, I'm not quite on the sleep deprivation cave at the moment. I woke up this morning about 5 o'clock and the cricket was on, so Kez had obviously turned the cricket on the radio, so I had the dulcet tones of Corbin and Ben just keeping me awake at 5 o'clock this morning, but I'm a big Tour de France man, so that's me over the next couple of weeks.
That's taking the time. And Wimbledon final as well tonight, so Alcaraz and Sinner.
Hopefully it goes for a bit longer than last night.
Yeah, that was all done and dusted in 57 minutes. That saw Iga Swiatek win her first Wimbledon title. So we'll see what happens tonight. Berkey, have you got time to stay up at night, or you're too busy, going through the motions of Kringle and how you can make them a better side in the next few years?
Yeah, that's always forefront of my mind. Now, last week I had the Tour de France, I had the Grand Prix, and I had the World Club Cup soccer being played in America. So I pretty much didn't sleep.
I like it, Berkey. A few screens going, and maybe a few different radios as well, as play's about to get restarted in the middle. Third quarter, here's Joel Peterson.
The multiple radios notoriously more difficult than multiple screens. Jordan across half forward, kicks up and down the mine shaft for the Swans as we get going in this third term. It is the Saints by 10 points, having kicked all 3 goals in the second quarter. It's Cunningham with the footy in the middle of the ground. He got dragged down by Owens. Free kick and advantage here to St Kilda. And McRae spears the kick to Higgins, rolls onto his right boot, whips it to full forward, big pack collides, Marshall and Sharman are there, Wanganeen Miller are at their feet, 30 metres out from goal for the Saints, Wood hooks it around the body, McCartan at the top of the square for the Swans, he has a play at it, he can't keep it alive, and it's out of play, it'll be tossed back in, deep in the right forward pocket. Are you enjoying the late night sport at the moment, Cal?
I am. I've got a 6-month-old, so you are in for a wild ride, Charlie.
Thank you, brother.
Plenty of sport for you, I'll tell you that right now.
So the ball will be tossed it inside forward 50. Grundy funnels it out and hand passes it just into some space. Wood collects, spins around, puts it on his left boot as he's being tangled. It's just a spiralling ball that comes back down. McCartan tries to punch it away. It's Rowbottom that hand passes to Mills sitting down. Hand pass to McCartan. Hand pass to Grundy, who curls this away on his right boot into the centre of Docklands. It'll be a free kick and a whistle for a push.
Was that a handball to Ruckman who ran out of the back line?
Just move on, mate.
He tried to kick a torpedo through the middle of the ground.
This is going to go on all day.
There's a lot of salt in these, women.
Windhager to Hill, Kel Sinclair, Nathan Burke, our protagonist in the expert chair this afternoon. Bradley Hill rolls on. Tries to run away from a ruckman, just ends up running 30 metres across the centre square. Flares the kick out wide to Taru. Taru's 55 from home, pokes it to the pocket. Blakey's there, Heath's there for the Saints. Flashing past was Owens, couldn't take it. Spills to Sharman, his kick on goal. It's mopped up by Mills in the defensive goal square. Blasted out only to Hill. He now goes inside 50 for the Saints and finds Windhager. Windhager is 45 metres from home, 45-degree angle to the left. He's going to run to the numbers of the 50, unloads a low kick to the top of the square. Woods among the flyers, so too Sharman. Free kicks and Kilda.
Moose is going to get it, got a shove in the back, which he accentuated.
I tell you what though, they've hit that gold zone, that top of the square 5 or 6 times really, really early. Eventually, that pressure just builds and you panic, and sometimes strategy-wise, you just get a little bit of a free kick. Free kick's definitely there. McCartan just sloppy with his hands going to the back, but I think it's just reward for strategy. They just kept putting it there, and eventually you'll find an opportunity.
So here's Max Heath in his first game. The man they call Moose with a 30-metre set shot. It'll ring out if he kicks it. They run to the big fella. The tallest player on the list is absolutely swallowed in Saints. And the Moose rings out around Docklands. A very nice moment for the big man, who's been made to wait since being taken in the mid-season draft a couple of seasons ago. He earns his opportunity and stands tall in the moment that matters most. 8-4-52 to the Swans, 5-6-36. 3.5 gone third term, and that's a very nice moment indeed for Max Heath.
Yeah, well done, young fella. Went back and put it straight through. And didn't he love that one? And all the players loved it for him. He's been on the list since 2021. It's a long time to wait for your first game.
From a marketing perspective, with the Moose in the back, man, it adds a couple of years to your contract, I think. just kind of, I'm sure they'll find a way to merchandise that in their Saints office at some point.
Well, we had the Viking helmets last week.
I saw that.
Down there. They're not down there today, so maybe get the Moose horns next week.
Nick Rewalt had one on pre-game and one of the TV broadcasts, actually.
He's always been a week late.
Another clip from Berkey. From the middle, it's Marshall that takes the footy. And skies the ball up. Hunter Clark, the sub, comes in to take it. On for Butler. He hand passes it to Hasty, who puts a nice kick inside the forward 50 into the pocket. Although it's Blakey is the only player sitting back there in that space. And drops back to take the mark for the Swans. So Kilda are ahead now by 16 points. After they kicked the opening goal of this term, just 3 minutes into it. A long kick from Blakey goes down the line. It's Hill there. He's able to recover, though, for the Saints. Just puts the kick in. It's low for Higgins. He can't take it cleanly. Hall has a go at it. He's tackled off the footy. Owens is pushed off the ball as well. Then Blakey takes it. Hand pass to Hamling. Hand pass across to Roberts, who moves it to McCartan, who hand passes it to Goulden, who's in the goal square. Chooses to kick to the pocket. And it's a safe one in the end. After a few tense moments, Blakey marks it for the Swans at left half back.
Always cool in a crisis is Errol Goulden.
Same as the second quarter. Swans just cannot find any flow in their forward movement.
Blakey kicks out long and it's clattered out of play by Caminiti, and over and out of play it'll be thrown back in. So the Swans, such a good transition side, have not scored from their defensive half in this game.
I think we're finding Blakey and I guess their runners, they're actually finding the football quite deep in the defensive 50. It's all well and good to score when you take the footy about 40 to 60 out.
Saints have done a good job to shut down that back half game that the Swans do so well. At the stoppage, McInerney to Goulden for Sydney. Goulden kicks a high footy up toward half forward. McLean drops in front of the pack. Hayward sprints away with it. He hooks it on the outside of the boot. That's a very clever kick to Lloyd. The outside of the boot across the 50 from Hayward, and he dropped it into the bucket for Jake Lloyd, who's going to line up for his third goal from 25 metres out.
Yeah, really smart kick there out in front of Lloyd, working hard back inside forward 50. What were the odds for Jake Lloyd to be the leading goal kicker today?
Exactly right. It's just so interesting how he's just kind of reignited this position for him at this stage of his career, because he's won 2 Bob Skilled medals in defence, and now he's just Swans leading goal kicker for the day.
And he sneaks that one in for his third, and the first time that Jake Lloyd's got a treble in his career. A long and distinguished one, game 265, and he's kicked 3 for the first time at the top level. pulls one back for the Swans, ends in a run of 4 unanswered St Kilda goals, and the margin is back to 10 points. 6-6-42 Sydney, 8-4-52 St Kilda, 7 gone, third term, Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Your experts are Cal Sinclair and Nathan Burke.
One of the criticisms of Jake has been at times over his career is he gets a lot of his possessions in the back half of the ground, and they always said, mate, we don't really care if you get 30 touches in the back half of the ground. We want to see how damaging you can be when you get the ball and it gets just over halfway, and if you have 12 to 16 touches, that could be somewhat a lot more available. But the fact now is that they want him to get dangerous and hit the scoreboard, and you are right, who would have thought it'd be today's leading goal kicker?
So Jake Lloyd with 3, played in his 250th game in the opening round of this season. Now he's got 3 for the first time in his career today as Goulden hand passes it to Warner in the middle, tried to move it down to Sheldrick, who'll get the free kick here. It's taken slightly high by Sinclair. It'll be Sheldrick's free. He's a couple of kicks from goal. Sydney pressing. They've finally been able to score a goal and break the run from St Kilda. The kick goes inside 50 and it'll be a mark to Hayward. In the pack it was Hayward whose fingertips clutched onto it, and he holds onto the mark and will take it goal from directly in front.
It was a bit of an up and under kick, didn't quite get onto it, went high in the air, but it was Hayward who actually read it faster than the other 20 players who were inside 50.
It just felt like the defence, the St Kilda defenders, somewhat maybe collapsed on one another and just pulled out that 60-degree lob wedge there, Sheldrick, and
showed their ability to score quickly in the first quarter when they were able to get a string of goals in. They didn't show it in the second, but now Hayward puts on a second in a couple of minutes, and the Swans are back into the match. St Kilda's lead just cut back to 4 points in a matter of minutes. Sydney 7-6-48 trails St Kilda 8-4-52. 8.5 minutes played in the third term on ABC Sport. Your experts are Callum Sinclair and Nathan Burke.
And that's the problem with the Saints. They were dominating field position, dominating the way the game was being played. It was on their terms for large periods of that second quarter and the start of this quarter, yet couldn't put the team away. They were only that 16 points ahead. And you always knew at some stage that the Swans were going to get a run on and kick a couple in a row. So just couldn't put their foot down when they needed to.
They need to stop that sort of handball receive from the Swans. You even just see they're all lining up for it. Guys like Blakey and Warner, but you've got that centre bounce. All the Saints midfielder just sagged back.
Second leading goal kicker last year, Will Hayward, and he's second on the table so far this year as well. Marshall feeds it to Garcia out of the middle for the Saints for the instant response. Riley Garcia with a bomb from downtown. And it took all of 8 seconds for St Kilda to answer back. 9-4-58 to 7-6-48. First goal of the day for Garcia, and that was lightning from the Saints.
Very interesting, Burke. You made the point at half-time about your ruckman having to change their strategy against, I guess, Brody Grundy. I've noticed that early Rowan Marshall was getting caught in that wrestle. I think that centre bounce there, he just tried something a little bit different, not necessarily change the angle, but just kind of change the way that he approached Brody Grundy. Brody Grundy was furious after that absolute centre bounce. He gave a couple of sprays to his midfielders. So great response, but equally an awesome finish.
Blink and you miss it sort of goal. Came from inside the centre square. An incredible finish there from Garcia. As Grundy gets the tap out again, but it'll be a clearance coming the way from Boxall, and the Saints takes a bounce, gets tackled. That's holding footy. Tackled by James Jordan. And it'll be a free kick for the Swans in the centre of the ground. So a good effort to get away in the middle. It was Garcia in the end who was caught. So Garcia just tries to take on a little bit too much there. And Jordan with the footy will go all the way right to the top of the 50. McLean was there, Grundy was there. They get a fingertip onto it. Hayward's barging his way through the footy, through the pack. Cunningham comes in after Steele to do the tackling and rucks up the ball inside forward 50 for the Saints. For Sydney, rather.
Garcia coming off the ground, holding that right wrist as well, Loz.
It is too, so a little bit of an issue there for Garcia as the ball's tossed up inside forward 50. Windhager tries to clear it away towards Liam Henry, gets a tap down onto it, goes to Sheldrick, hand pass to Goulden, he hand passes to Roberts, who flicks the ball back outside to Lloyd, will then put a spiralling kick inside 50 into the pocket. Windhager was there. Intercepts for St Kilda and hand passes to Wanganeen Miller in the pocket.
No one's had more of the pill than Windhager. Wanganeen Miller's kick exiting's a poor one. Blakey cuts it off for the Swans. to a stationary McLean, who lays up the kick. Owens goes upstairs and pulls down a powerful defensive mark. He ripped it out of the air with some real venom. Offload hand pass to Windhager, now to Wilkie. The Saints exit the defensive 50 to Sinclair and now to Boxall. Just defensive side of the interchange. Loops the handball over the top to Hill. He floats it on over the top to Clark. The activated sub here in this second half. Has a fumble, goes to ground, gets caught, dragged underneath him. How does the umpire see it? Says mine. It came out just at the last moment. Lloyd applying some good pressure. And a ball up between the wing and half forward. Saints into attack. They're up by 10. We're 12 through the third on ABC Sport.
So the ball's just tossed in. It'll stay in the hands of the Saints. Clark has it until he hand passes it right into the path of McInerney. Hand passes it to Campbell, who's frustrated with his kick the moment it leaves his boot because it's out of bounds on the full. Caminiti brings it in very quickly. Just chips it back to Wilkie, who can find Hill, who's been patrolling that back area and set for that kick across the whole day. The Saints leading by 10 points in this third term. Kicks to Clark in the centre of Docklands. Hand passes it across to Hasty, who hand passes it to Steele. Centre half forward for the Saints. Curves the kick in. It'll go over the top of the pack, but Henry couldn't gather it. And it'll be through just for a behind. So St Kilda's lead pushed out to 11 points. 12 minutes played in this third term. And Riley Garcia is on the boundary line, getting some attention to that right wrist from the physios.
Dangerous kick in from Blakey. It's bashed down by Steele. Spills into the forward pocket. Blakey's got to sort out his own mess and does. Goes through to Wicks. Wicks kicks exiting the defensive 50 through the hands of Francis. Taken by Wilkie. Handball to Windhager. Now to Wilkie, marauding forward. Pokes the kick to the edge of the 50 and finds Hall for the Saints. 52 metres from home. Rolls onto his right boot. The set-up kick to fall forward. Sharman in from the back. Spills to Henry. He's dragged down by Cunningham. Top of the defensive goal square for the Saints. Roberts now for Sydney. Exiting kick out to the city side wing. It bounces there in front of Hayward. Sat up for him nicely. Stocker's lost his headband among all that. Hayward whips the kick down the line, floats down that city wing. Lloyd fights for it. Hill goes into battle with him. Spills out the back for St Kilda, just in their defensive half. Wilkie, little handball across the top to Caminiti from a standing start. He pumps it as high and as far as he can back the other way. And there's a free kick in the marking contest. It will go to Wood, game 150. Mason Wood's 2 kicks from home.
Just chips it away to Clark, who kicks as he's being tackled and falling to the ground, gets it to a pack, spills out the back. Marshall chasing after it, desperate to get a hand pass away. Tackled by Chaldrick towards Owens, who hand passes it away. Picked up by Heaney. His hand pass picked off by Hasty. Hurried kick as he's off balance. And it's out of bounds on the full. Note, squeezed through for a behind. So another point on the board for St Kilda. Their margin goes out to 2 straight kicks, 12 points. Their lead, 9-5, playing Sydney 7-6, 14 minutes played in the third term on ABC Sport.
He does some good things, Angus Hasty. He's just got to get the pace of the game a little bit more. Had an extra 2-3 seconds then to steady and have a shot there, but just hurries himself a little bit too much.
Hasty by name, hasty by nature, young Angus. Long kick in from fullback for the Swans to the pack, and the free kick's going to Grundy against Heath. Francis wasn't sure whether it was his footy. He tosses his back to his fellow Crow-Eater. Grundy pokes it inside defensive 50 to Mills. All-Australian best and fairest in 2022. He's had a luckless run with injury over the last couple of years to Warner, who's been relatively quiet by his lofty standards so far today. So too Heaney, back edge of the centre square. Now they link up by foot to McInerney, just defensive side of the centre circles. The overlap runners scoot past. Blakey and Heaney both presented as options. That kick won't be the distance to Heaney on the centre circles, but he's off and trotting and kicking inside the forward 50. And Hill floats back in front of Wood. A couple of Saints could have raffled it. Takes the defensive mark, shoots it short to Steele. Coming up for disposal number 18 is the skipper. Saints by 2 straight kicks, 16 gone. Third quarter, Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Joel Peterson, Lauren Borden, Kel Sinclair and Nathan Burke with you.
Steele with a little stuttering step and then goes long down the wing. It'll be a mark to McCartan, who's come up to centre wing for the Saints and will put the kick right into the centre of Docklands. Mark will be taken by McInerney as they work the footy onto the broadcast side of the ground by Mills, whose kick is a shocker and goes straight to Wilkie, who can chip it to centre wing to Windhager. Works in a 1-2 with Wanganeen Miller, and Windhager can find himself in some space here. Works the kick to centre half forward. Good mark taken by Mitch Owens. But it's well done by Hamling just to slow him down from taking his kick as Mitch Owens puts it towards Sharman in the pocket, plugs the mark. It's almost half a step ladder goes up and he holds onto the footy for St Kilda.
Well, Callum Mills, you almost think he was passing the ball to Cal Wilkie then. There wasn't really a Swans play in sight that he was aiming for, but hit Wilkie right on the chest, and that's the second one now. He's just hurried a little bit. The one before that, he just butchered it quickly out of the goal square and went back in for a Saints goal to Heath.
It just seemed to be moving the ball a lot more cleaner and a lot more efficient going inside 50.
So here's Cooper Sharman.
Stab that.
Puts it through. And Cooper Sharman, after soccering a goal through, puts a beautiful set shot into the middle of the posts for a goal for St Kilda for his second for this afternoon. And St Kilda push out to an 18-point lead. It's their highest lead of the game so far. And it's the Saints 10-6-66 against Sydney 7-6-48. 17 minutes played in this third term. It's been a tough weekend for tipsters all around. So there might be a few nervous ones watching this game today, but it is St Kilda in front by 18.
They've had a lot more. Their midfield and particularly their half backs have been a lot more, patient with the ball going inside 50. Yet they've still been able to put a little bit of speed on it. Just some real considered kicks and some handball received at that kind of 90 to 80 metres out from goal. It just makes the Swans defenders a lot more accountable and forces them to come up the ground.
Swans have made their sub. Francis out of the game. Riley Bice is into the action. They come inside forward 50 here again, St Kilda. They're really pressing at the moment. Boxall across half forward. The young West Aussie picks it up, offloads to Wood, off a step from 50. In game 150, he pulls out the Wood, and he just didn't have enough on it. Mason left it a little bit short, and it's knocked through for a minor score. Saints by 19 points, 19 gone, third quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
So Francis just a tactical sub for Sydney. Bice into the action. McCartan's kick comes out to a pack. Campbell just carries it over the boundary line for a throw-in. So Sydney have kicked 2 goals in this third quarter. Saints have kicked 3. After Sydney didn't kick a goal in that second term. And the advantage for St Kilda now sits at 19 points. Thrown in. McLean and Heath tussling in the ruck. Warner takes the footy. He's taken down by Steele. Takes him a little bit high. And it'll be a free kick for Warner when Steele lets him up off the turf. Just holds onto the footy a little bit. And slows things down so his slide can get set up behind him, does Jack Steele. As Chad Warner holds onto the footy, right half back. Will dart the kick further inboard to centre half forward. Stocker was at the front. Juggles the mark. Intercept coming the way of the Saints. And St Kilda holding on to the footy and a 19-point lead as well.
One of 3 inclusions today for the Saints was Stocker. Prize of Moose for Heath, who's turned it over as he marks at half back. He chipped it straight to Errol Gordon. What a horrible man to have it in the hands of if you're an opposition supporter. McInerney now across the front edge of the 50 to Roberts. Roberts inside the 50 to Lloyd, who's got 3 already. He's 54 from home, pokes it inside the arc, and the mark is taken by Sheldrick, who's 45 metres out. And this will take a pretty good strike.
Well, it's just disappointing, isn't it, really? Because I think the Saints have had such a terrific third quarter. But, Heath probably just needs to know his limitations there, and fortunately now Swans are getting a shot on goal and potentially back in this game a little bit.
So Angus Sheldrick to answer back for the Swans. Left foot kick from 45 metres out is a dart. That's a terrific strike from Sheldrick. And he pegs one back for Sydney and gets that margin back to a more manageable 13 points. 8-6-54 to the Saints 10-7-67. The 5th goal of the season for Angus Sheldrick, who's cemented his spot in the side a little bit more regularly this year for the Swans. 21 gone, third quarter. Nathan Burke and Cal Sinclair are your experts on ABC Sport.
Well, the big fella, Max Heath, just tried to bite off more than he could chew there. Went for the short pass to Jack Sinclair, and it just wasn't on. There was probably 3 Swans players that could intercept it. But what they did was didn't actually then rush forward. There was 3 kicks before they actually got the ball inside forward 50 to a player who could have a shot. So good patience there by the Swans moving forward. But it's one of the first times that they've been able to turn the football over in their front half. Yeah. All of their other forays have come from deep in defence.
It's back in the middle now. Grundy gets the tap away straight into the hands of Garcia, who's wrapped up, and will be another throw up right in the centre of Docklands. Umpire gets things underway quickly. Heath can just get a tap out. It'll go in the direction of Warner, though, of the Swans. Will be able to put the Swans directly inside 50. In comes Karu. Flying with an intercept mark, although it's been a free kick. And it's going to Buller, it looks like. It will be across to Buller. So we'll have a look at free kick in the contest.
Yeah, just tugged the back of the jumper there. There's a fair bit of movement there. He's shaking his head, but once the umpire sees that and it gets pulled away from the body, like, it's very hard to argue against, regardless if you're both locked up.
The free goes against Anthony Caminiti of the Saints and to Jack Buller of the Swans, who gets a kick from 40 metres out, 45-degree angle. He's got a chance of 2 for this afternoon, and that is as straight as an arrow. A beautiful kick from Buller, and he keeps Sydney well in touch of this game. He's fought back another goal for Sydney, and St Kilda's lead cut back to 7 points. It's St Kilda 10-7-67. They're holding that narrow lead. Sydney 9-6-60. 22 minutes played in the third term. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
You almost get the sense that this game is going to be won by the team who can concentrate the most. If you have a 5-minute lapse, the other team will kick 2 or 3 and potentially get away from you. But what we've seen is that the Swans had a bit of a lapse, and the Saints got out to a 20-point lead. Saints had a bit of a lapse, 2 mistakes, a free kick and a turnover, and the Swans are now back within 7 points. So those little errors and just switching off for a minute or 2, it's going to kill you in this game.
It's a game right in the balance. Sydney's season might hang in the balance at the moment. Free kick from the restart. The Swans will take it. Rowbottom. He gallops away from the centre circles, thumps it inside the forward 50. Buller gets to the front, and Wilkie floats across from the side.
He's a good player, this guy.
Isn't he what? Game 149 on debut. Since debut, hasn't missed. Second only to former Swan Jared Crouch in that statistic in terms of games consecutively from debut. The kick on that occasion not great from the All-Australian, just over the head of Windhager, who's had it 25 times, the most of any player out there on the ground. It's out for a throw-in. Right half forward, the Swans are in attack and they're eating into this Saints lead. They've kicked the last 2 and they trail by 7.
He's only got about 100 to make up on Jack Crisp there, Carl Wilkie, to overtake that record, but a good run nonetheless as the ball's dropped in, it spills out the back, and it's Warner again that can extract it. He's done well in the last few minutes for Sydney, gets it inside 50. McInerney just skies a footy somewhere in the direction of the goal, and here he is. Carl Wilkie not paying the mark, thought he had it, could still dish it off to Sinclair, who kicks to the right back pocket, and Mason Woodall mark.
This is the part of the ground that's really, really difficult to, I guess, exit the footy. Both teams are sitting set up pretty well, and you're forced along in the line like that.
That's what he does. He loads up on the kick. Taru came through. He wanted the free kick, doesn't get it. The ball in the end goes past him. He can't bend down to pick it up. Sheldrick can take it, walk his way into the forward 50 for Sydney, have a snap at goals himself, and it will be a mark on the line. It looks like it'll be paid. No,
it's going to come down to whether he bobbles the ball, I think. I think first touch might have been in play or just on the line.
Doesn't look confident, though, as he's not hanging around the umpire. He's walking straight back to the set-up zone, I think.
Yeah, James Jordan's just making his way back. He's not hanging onto the footy like he's claimed it.
Did he bobble it slightly? Oh, I don't know. Can't tell. It's behind the... I'm going to pay that a mark.
If it's on the goal line, is that...
So Jordan will be marched back to his position.
Yeah, whole ball has to be across the line.
And basically couldn't see it behind the post, so he stayed in.
The fact that we've got a camera on the far goalpost, can't see past that goalpost. We're not one on every post.
Just another little quirk.
What do you mean the AFL's not doing things properly? Oh, sure.
So James Jordan, the padlock.
Ideally, you want these kicks a little bit further out from goal. Sometimes the closer you go in, the more challenging it is, but
it's tight, he goes the snap, and he snaps it right across the face of goal. And it's just the same result that it would have been if he wasn't paid the mark. It's one behind, but it is a straight kick now that's the Swans trail by. So So St Kilda's lead 6 points, 67 playing 61, 26 minutes played, third term on ABC Sport.
The last two in the game here, the Swans. Wanganeen Miller brings it in from fullback. Steele, the man with the footy.
The Saints are really, it's their turn now to struggle to get the ball up the other end.
Doesn't see a lot that he likes. Kicks it up the line. Terrific mark from Malikan, who juggled it as he fell to the turf just in front of the City side wing. Goes diagonally and defensively to Hamling. They can set up the ground here on the broadcast side, the Swans. Campbell marks just defensive side of the AFL logo. Pokes his kick forward to Lloyd. 3 goals on the afternoon, a new career high for the man from Horsham, who spins the footy in his hands. Chips short to the logo for Goulden. So inventive and creative with the footy usually. A low kick to the edge of the 50. Looking for Sheldrick. The big Moose Heath got in the road and the Saints can bounce back the other way. Hall collects the handball from Higgins to Heath. Heath onto McRae. McRae inside the forward 50. Owens in the right forward pocket. Henry's all alone at the top of the square. Owens puts the step on. Snaps and goals. Great bounce back footy from the Saints. And Mitch Owens kicks his second to give them a 2-goal break. 11-7-73 to Sydney 9-7-61. 28 gone, third quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Your experts are former Eagle and Swan Cal Sinclair and Australian Football Hall of Famer Nathan Burke.
I'll tell you what, they have had some clunky moments, the Saints, this quarter, but I think one thing that's been really, really positive is the fact is that they've actually had a response. So they had a great centre clearance goal there, a terrific response there, particularly after what happened after Jordan's goal. But the big fella held his composure there once again and give him a little shout out in the side. But McRae just kind of put it out there in space, but just to keep his feet, Owens. He's had some really good moments today. A couple of good grabs, another goal.
Liam Henry, if he had to run a little bit harder, could have got on the end and got himself a handball and a goal there. But just was happy to spectate and watch Mitch Owens do his work.
So Mitch Owens kicked 20 goals last year, played every game. He's now up to 22 goals this year after starting today's game on 20 goals. So he surpassed last year's total. There's a repeat stoppage inside the centre of Docklands. Comes out to Hunter Clark, who can get a hand pass away to Liam Henry in his multicoloured long sleeve. Just gets a hand pass away towards Hill as he's being tackled. Hill will put the kick to left half forward, looking for Heath, who couldn't mark it, but it will be a throw in at half forward for St Kilda.
You're a bit of a fashion icon, Berkey. What do you think of the multicoloured long sleeve setup for Liam
like
Henry?
it.
You're a fan?
I like it. It's a fan. A long sleeve jumper. That side of the jumper is red sleeve. Go with it.
Right arm red, left arm black.
Yep.
Exactly
Looks
right.
good.
It's a little bit different, but it certainly makes Liam Henry stand out. No doubt about that. Knocked inside the forward 50 here from the Saints. Marshall have played it. Steele as well. Heaney lays the tackle. It's locked up. 45 out from the St Kilda goal. Up by 12 points. 11-7 to 9-7. Closing it on three-quarter time here on ABC Sport. Earlier today, Melbourne far too good for the Roos at the G, and West Coast with the early lead on Port Adelaide over in the west. Free kick inside forward 50 here from the stoppage. There was a throw among the scrimmage as the Swans got the exiting kick. And it will be Jack Steele to take it, who's kicked a long goal already in the game to end the opening term to this end. In fact, it's going to be Henry who will take the free kick. He of the multicoloured long sleeves. That's a creative kick to the top of the 50.
I knew what he was trying to do, but
Clark and Higgins were both there, but Lloyd was in the middle of them. He marks for the Swans, and they can repel at least for now.
So chip kick across to Roberts, who moves the kick to Bice. It's still at right half back, trying to get it to Water. They're in a little bit of trouble here, the Swans. But here comes Goulden, who tries to recover it. It's a throw, though. It'll be a St Kilda free kick. Coming back to Jack Sinclair, who wants the footy in a hurry. He's got Hall in some space. Instead, he goes a little bit wider than that because he's able to find Steele. Just 51 metres out from goal. End up against the boundary line, and we'll just chip it forward towards Marshall, who is on the lead, waiting for him to come towards him, and Marshall holds on to the mark.
Yeah, he and Grundy were just tracking back towards the goal square, but it was Marshall who turned around and came back at the kicker, saw a little bit of a hole, so smart play there by the big fella.
He's had a pretty serviceable game, Marshall. I think Grundy's been also pretty good in the centre bound, so I think this is a big kick for him. One thing that's good about his game is his work ahead of the footy. So probably more of a natural forward, I think, growing up, but turned into a terrific ruckman that can hit the scoreboard.
Said he's happy to play forward or wherever the team needs him as this kick starts left and stays left.
Has to say that.
Yeah. And Marshall, his 150th game out of Portland, just the minor score for him. And St Kilda's lead is now 13 points. 31 minutes gone, third term.
Swans play on immediately from fullback. Blakey and Warner with the give and go. Warner drives it outside. The defensive 50 up toward the wing. Grundy's grabbed and it's not going anywhere. Marshall from southwest Victoria with New Zealand roots. His dad used to knock off early from work a couple of times a week to take him to training. So he'd drive him from Portland to Warrnambool, then he'd get on the bus to Ballarat where the Rebels trained. So it was a fair old pilgrimage for Rowan Marshall. He didn't get drafted in his top age year. He went and played at Sebastopol in the Ballarat League at North Ballarat, played interleague for the Ballarat League, got drafted, and what a player he's turned himself into.
By gummy, put those towns on the map.
Oh, absolutely he did, Loz. Absolutely he did, as he wins the hit out to end the third term. And the Saints go into the final change with a 13-point lead, 11-8-74 to 9-7-61. It was Sydney who were able to charge back into it with back-to-back goals early in that term. The Saints then kicked two of their own. The Swans then kicked back-to-back goals. St Kilda with the last of that third quarter. And it is a 13-point game with a quarter to go under the roof at Docklands on Sunday footy. 2 goals to Sharman for the Saints, 2 to Owens, 2 to Hall, singles to Boxall, to Sinclair and to Jack Steele, who's been busy in the ball game as well. Mitch Owens with the most recent goal for the Saints as far as they're concerned. For the Swans, 2 goals to Buller, a goal to Sheldrick, a goal to Hayward, a goal to Heaney and a goal to McLean. But it's 3 goals to Jake Lloyd, who in 265 games, that is a new career high for him. He kicked 4 times before today, or 4 times before today. He has his third for a career high and playing a big part of keeping the Swans in it. They trail by 13 at three-quarter time, Loz.
And in the earlier game today at the MCG, it was Melbourne that defeated North Melbourne by 36 points. 18-11, 119 to North Melbourne, 12-11, 83 in front of 35,844 on a chilly day out there at the MCG. At the moment, it's quarter time at the Adelaide Oval between Port Adelaide and West Coast. There is a full call of that available on the ABC Listen app if you're interested in checking in what's happening there. It is the Eagles, 6-3-39, leading Port Adelaide 2-2-14. Mitch in the studio letting us know it's the Eagles' highest scoring first quarter since the 2019 elimination final. So a long time coming for the Eagles there, and they're in a good position at least at quarter time over at the Adelaide Oval. Here at Docklands, though, it is St Kilda leading the way by 13 points. The final term still to come. It's Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
Hello, Patrick Stack here. Do you like sport and good conversation? Then we've got a great podcast for you. One cracking story, in depth, every day, in under 15 minutes. It's called ABC Sport Daily, and you can find it on the ABC Listen app.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Low kick to the top of the square. Woods among the flyers. So too Sharman. Free kicks and Kilda.
Moose is going to get it, got a shove in the back.
So here's Max Heath in his first game. The man they call Moose with a 30-metre set shot. It'll ring out if he kicks it. They run to the big fella. The tallest player on the list is absolutely swallowed in Saints. And the Moose rings out around Docklands. A very nice moment for the big man. Toward half forward, McLean drops in front of the pack. Hayward sprints away with it. He hooks it on the outside of the boot. That's a very clever kick to Lloyd. And he sneaks that one in for his third. And the first time that Jake Lloyd's got a treble in his career.
Sydney pressing. They've finally been able to score a goal and break the run from St Kilda. The kick goes inside 50 and it'll be a mark to Hayward. In the pack, it was Hayward whose fingertips clutched onto it. Showed their ability to score quickly in the first quarter when they were able to get a string of goals in. They didn't show it in the second, but now Hayward puts on a second in a couple of minutes, and the Swans are back into the match.
Second leading goal figure last year, Will Hayward, and he's second on the table so far this year as well. Marshall feeds it to Garcia out in the middle for the Saints for the instant response. Riley Garcia with a bomb from downtown.
took all of 8 seconds for St Kilda to answer back. Ball collects the handball from Higgins to Heath. Heath onto McRae. McRae inside the forward 50. Owens in the right forward pocket. Henry's all alone on the top of the square. Owens puts the step on. Snaps and goals. Great bounce back footy from the Saints.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
So 4 goals apiece in that third term. Max Heath kicking his first goal on debut, and Jake Lloyd with his third goal, the first time in his career that he's kicked 3 in a match. It leaves St Kilda ahead by 13 points, but the game very much in the balance as we turn for home in the final break. 11-8-74 St Kilda, Sydney 9-7-61. Lauren Borden, Joel Peterson calling the action. Former Eagle, former Swan, Callum Sinclair sitting in the back row, and Nathan Burke as well, the former Saint. Our experts on ABC Sport. 13 points the margin. Where does the game go from here?
I think you absolutely nailed it, Berkey. You made a comment halfway through the third quarter about whoever can, I guess, maintain their concentration, particularly with both sides that seem to have a little bit of, I don't mean this in a disrespectful manner, they're not as mature as other teams in the competition, and I reckon the evidence of that is just some sloppy free kicks from both sides. Like you definitely saw a handful of free kicks done by the St Kilda defenders, particularly in that quarter, that just got the Swans kind of back in with a sniff. With the Saints, though, I think what's been impressive is when they've made a few muck-ups in the background, they've responded each time and they've actually hit the scoreboard. One stat that's very interesting is the... Oh, my God, I've just lost it here, guys. The tackles inside 50, 17 to St Kilda, only 8 to the Swans, which shows a fair bit of forward pressure that's been applied by the Saints. It's been really, really positive for them. Look, I think we've got a bit of a game on our hands here, mate. You know, I think the Swans, they can score quickly. I think guys like Nick Blakey need to get back in the game. He's not finding enough footy. I think, you know, he might have some numbers to back it up, but has he had much of an influence? Chad Warner as well. I think he's been pretty well maintained. 2 guys at the start of the game that I guess I made a comment that if they can kind of keep those 2 kind of under control, probably goes a long way to the Saints pulling up a win.
Yeah, well, Blakey's had 19 touches, but he's only had the 1 inside 50.
And there you go. 2 score involvements, 2 as well for Warner.
Yep.
So they haven't been involved when the Swans have needed them.
Anyone's game, really. Concentrate for the whole 30 minutes and you're a chance. Have a lapse and the other team will score heavily.
So it's 13 points that the Saints lead by. As Steele gets a hand pass in the centre to Garcia at centre half forward, darts the kick inside 50. McCartan came running in. He might be hurt here. As Bryce goes to check in on him, and again there's pushing and shoving here. So McCartan's sore and lying on the turf. And there's plenty of pushing and shoving. A lot of players involved in this inside the forward 50.
Yeah, it was Moose v Lizard, Loz. It was like a David Attenborough documentary gone wrong.
So Heath's coming over the top. And McCartan's gone down.
Yeah, it was just an outstretched arm by Heath got McCartan, who's coming back virtually at a 45-degree angle to the ball. Very courageous by McCartan. Let's hope that it's just a bit of a stunner and nothing else.
Given
serious.
Tom McCartan's history as well, you just
you
just hope there's nothing too bad there.
So it'll be a free kick to McCartan as he's helped off to the bench. It will be Nick Blakey.
He's got a bit of blood on
the Swans.
on the right cheek, so hopefully it's just a whack in the schnoz.
I think he seems okay, but I think with the sensitivity of head knocks, I think he just knows that he seems okay, but I think you might know that protocols may kick in. I think that's where the frustration is probably coming from him.
Yeah, he did sort of lay down for 2-3 seconds on the ground, and that's not a good sign for someone with his sort of history, but a bit of blood, hopefully just a whack in the schnoz that stunned him.
Dean Cox having a word to him as well. And now Blakey's away after taking the free kick. He dashes outside the defensive 50, kicks long up the line, through the hands of Caminiti. The spin move from Hayden McLean as he got the handball away. Hill picks it up for the Saints. Taru arches the back, gets away from the tackle. Handball to Marshall, now to Windhager, down the line to Owens. Right in front of where Tom McCartan's being assessed on the bench is Mitch Owens. 2 goals to his name so far in the ball game. Saints by 13 points. Start of the last quarter. Kicks to the edge of the 50. Heath's in the pack. Mills at their feet. Windhager grabs him. It spills out to Grundy near the boundary line. Got rid of it somehow. to Warner. Standing start for Chad Warner, who struggled to get into the game this afternoon. High kick up the line. Caminiti dives after it. Lloyd goes the toe poke. Sockers it to the edge of the 50. Hill getting back there. Sat between his legs. Picked up by Lloyd. He's got Heaney inside forward 50. He's got Rowbottom in front of him. Rowbottom picks up, hides the sticks and finishes. And that's just what the Swans wanted to start this final term. They pull it back to a 7-point deficit. 10-7 to 11-8, 2.5 gone in the last quarter. Cal Sinclair and Nathan Burke, it's very much game on.
Certainly is. And look, a great finish there from Rowbottom. But look, if you're Bradley Hill, you'd be pretty disappointed in that effort. And what I found even more disappointing is that not one St Kilda player came to him either to get around him or basically say that's unacceptable. Like, you've got to be stronger in that contest. You know, he's got the pace to, I guess, support, getting out of that. But looking at the replay here, I'm not sure what he's... he had to be stronger there.
The only person that went to him is Tony Brown, the St Kilda runner. Went out and had a word to him, patted him on the backside. So I'd love to know what sort of message that was.
In the middle, it's Marshall who can get a quick kick away, straight to Warner, who takes it, hurries a kick out to centre wing. It's dived on top of by Lloyd. He couldn't control it. Owens is allowed away in. Hand pass to Steele. Spins around in a full 360. Hand passes back to Windhager, who hand passes back to Garcia. Had a little bit of work on his wrist in that third quarter. It's all strapped up and he looks ready to go as he chips towards Owens. And they slow it down a little here. Owens will just go a short pass to Hill, who takes the footy and will go into the pocket with an inside 50. Malikan had front position, brought it down, allowed Weeks to get on it, but Sharman can smother his kick. Roberts comes in for the Swans. Sharman still going. Another effort to hand pass it to Hall, and Hall delivers the goal. Hall with his third goal via some supreme efforts from Cooper Sharman to get the footy to him. A smother, a second effort. Goes in after it, gets the ball to Hall, and that's 3 goals in a row for Hall for the second week in a row. St Kilda's lead back out to 13 points, the quick response to Rowbottom's goal. The Saints 12-8-80, Sydney 10-7-67, just 4 minutes played in this final term.
Well, you called it well, Loz. Cooper Sharman, outstanding effort. There was 3 efforts. He jumped for the big specky on the boundary line, didn't quite get it, landed on his feet, ran 10 metres for the smother, and then ran another 15 metres to pick the ball up below his knees and fire off a quick handball. So when you're a mobile forward, that's the epitome of being a mobile forward. You can do everything on the ground, in the air, defensively, and Cooper Sharman doesn't get a goal for that one, but it's as good as his.
He's spent the first couple of years of his career on the fringes. He's played 15 games this season, Cooper Sharman, and become a really valuable part of that St Kilda forward line from the restart. Ball not going anywhere as we've got a stoppage. It's locked up as McRae picks himself up off the turf. Windhager with a game-high 27 touches. Steele's had 23 for the Saints. Blakey with 20 for the Swans. I'll get the clearance here. Bice dashing through the middle of the ground. He's got some vigour to add into this ball game for the Swans. Kicks up toward McInerney. He couldn't take the mark. Rowbottom shoots it inside the forward 50. And the mark is taken by Jordan for Sydney. 40 metres out, directly in front. A kick to pull it back to 7 points once more.
That was good from Rowbottom, just to lower the eyes there. Generally, the way he kind of plays, he gets the footy and kind of dumps it on his boot. Not necessarily panics, but wouldn't say it's his strength to lower the eyes, but good part of his game that he's shown a sign of improvement to just lower the eyes there.
Important kick from James Jordan from just inside the 50. Strikes it and strikes it wonderfully well. Goal for goal here in this final term. Jordan pulls Sydney back to only 7 behind the Saints. 11-7, plays 12-8, 7 minutes played in this final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sports.
Just judging by the way the game's gone, Berkey, you would say that next place Saints will now respond with a goal. So
yes. Well, that's the way it's gone so far, goal for goal. But yeah, really exciting game of football on a Sunday afternoon. And if you're coaching the Swans forwards, you'd say, guys, just come at the kicker, because that is the way that they've looked dangerous all day. Just that lead up at the guys coming through the middle. The long bombs that haven't really worked for them. They haven't been able to take any of those sorts of marks. They haven't really got a lot of crumb goals. But coming forward, taking the chest mark, that looks dangerous.
8 goal kickers apiece now in this match. It's going to be a tight finish here as from the middle it's Clark who takes it, shrugs off a would-be tackler, puts the kick bobbling inside 50 for the Saints. Wood in the end has to do some tackling on Bice, who can get the footy and do well to get it off to Roberts. Long kick right down the middle of Docklands will be punched away. It's taken by Buller, who can hand pass it backwards. And it gets across to Campbell will put the kick inside 50. Lloyd was hovering, couldn't take the mark. Turu's there as well. Just had to hurry away a hand pass. In the end, Windhager picks it up. Hand pass to Hill. Flicks it to Sinclair. Hand pass to Wilkie. He's pushed off the footy. His handball is hurried. It allows Sydney in here as the ball comes back to Wilkie. But it was...
High free kick to Wilkie.
And it might be Campbell as well. He's a little injured there. He might have almost run into Wilkie. So the kick will come across to Hall. And a chip kick to Windhager. So they'll slow things down here a little, St Kilda, and take that approach out.
29th disposal for Marcus Windhager. Saints by 7, 8 minutes gone, final term. Long kick up the line. Grundy had a fair piece of it. Brought down to Wicks, who gave it back to Grundy. Now to Goulden. Left foot kick, top of the square. Needs a flyer. The only one who flew was Stocker, who comes across and takes an impressive defensive mark. And he spins the yellow Sharon in his hands before he drops it onto the right of his fluoro yellow boots. Comes short to Windhager again.
This is the part of the ground really deep inside 50 where you've got to find a way to, I guess, put some speed on the ball and actually get it out.
Long down the boundary line. Cooper Sharman goes upstairs. Blakey's out the back. Collects, handballs to Wicks. Wicks goes to the top of the defensive 50. The set-up kick to Bice, who can dash it back the other way for Sydney.
Puts it out wide, and it's Campbell that'll mark it. They can go again, Sydney, here. They've got the margin down to 7 points. Jordan with the most recent goal of the match. It's just a little chip kick forward where Bice is returning with the footy. Werribee premiership player. Got his shot as a mature age player in the AFL. He kicks from 60 metres out into the forward pocket for the Swans. Hayward rises and marks. That is the result Sydney wanted from that kick. And he's marked in the pocket just inside the boundary line. Did he mark inside the boundary line?
The Saints fans are fuming in that forward pocket.
Oh, he might have looked out in the replay. We'll have another look at it, but he's paid the mark in the end. And they got a famous goal when Jack Higgins once kicked one from outside of the boundary. So Hayward will take it, snap it towards goal. And what a beautiful finish from him. It doesn't matter whether he was in or out of the boundary line. He has scored that goal. And the margin is just 1 point now, St Kilda's advantage. It was 13 at three-quarter time. And now it's just 1. St Kilda's lead is that minor score. The Saints are 12-8-80, Sydney 12-7-79. 10 minutes played in the final term on ABC Sport.
And little things matter in this game. Stocker's kick out of the back line came right to the wing, 1 metre inside the boundary line, and the Saints players couldn't get it over the boundary line. You had Marshall there, had Cooper Sharman there. The ball lands at Blakey's feet. He uses the ball across through the middle of the ground. Was it out, mate?
Didn't look great.
Depending on who you support.
Yeah, correct. But I completely agree with you. Like, even the predictability of, like, the Swans had it outside 50 for like 20 seconds. He had no one on him with Hayward. So
another layer of intrigue added to this contest. 1 point game. The Swans trying to keep their September dream alive, as faint as it might be. Wanganeen Miller with the clearance back in the middle. He flicks it forward to Hall. Shrugs the tackle, runs inside the 50. Then Owens got crunched by Rowbottom. He ran into a red and white wall inside forward 50. And we'll have it stoppage at the top of the 50. Saints into attack. 11 gone, final term. They lead it 12-8 to 12-7. Up it goes. McLean tries to slap it out of there. Higgins burrows in, trying to rip the footy clear. Can't do so. And another ball up inside the Saints' arc.
We saw Tom McCartan cop a knock from Max Heath a little earlier on the quarter. Sydney have said that he's out of the game. So via precautionary reasons, they won't bring him back into the match. So that means that they're down a player on the bench, but obviously taking complete care when it comes to McCartan.
And this is the silly thing about the sub. They've got Aaron Francis sitting on the bench, completely fit, able to play in this game, and now the Swans are one player less because we've got this silly sub rule. So
Francis already came off, and Bice came in. As Roberts takes the kick and goes long down the outer wing of the ground, it'll spill to a contest. Boxall gets himself involved in it for the Saints, and then it's all locked up on the outer side of the square.
It is the most stupid rule
It's just
in
ridiculous.
the history of our game.
You've got
It's ridiculous.
Completely fit player there. Now Swans have got 3 on the bench and 1 fit one, and Saints have got 4. How is that fair?
So Marshall down. It'll be a holding the ball free kick against the Swans in the end. So Marshall palmed it down towards Haywood. And it's a free kick now to McRae. He'll take it just backwards of the centre of the ground. Saints are leading by just 1 behind.
Unusually quiet today, Jack McRae. 14 disposals. Goes to Taru, now to Wilkie. Game 150 next week for the All-Australian. Comes outside to right half back for Hill. And Bradley Hill, who had a moment he wouldn't be all that pleased with earlier in the quarter, kicks up to half forward. Another impressive mark from Stocker, this time at the other end of the ground, at right half forward. Sets his eyes to full forward. Marshall's in the pack. Wood comes from the front. Hamling takes it, tackled immediately. Stopped at the top of the goal square. Saints deep into attack, up by a point. 13 gone in this final term. They'll get a look at it through a stoppage. Marshall and McLean. McLean with the back of the hand. Rowbottom rips it out of there. Thumps it as high and as far as he can outside the defensive 50. Stocker did well to keep it alive. Heaney paddled it back into the corridor. Hill to Sinclair inside the 50. Blakey back into oncoming traffic. It's picked up and thumped out of there by Jordan. It clears the pack. It'll get out the back and it'll sit up for Big Buller.
Buller hand pass to Sheldrick, who hand passes across to a running Campbell. He can take a bounce. He takes 2, 3. He's streaming ahead into the forward 50 for the Swans, and then he pulls the kick at the last moment. What a great decision. When he spots up Haywood, he'll take a kick almost directly in front. But what a good run there to find Haywood and make that angle a lot better, as he can steady himself now and have a set shot for his 3rd.
And the point you made, the little things matter. They kicked the top of the goal square. They had a forward 50 stoppage, and I watched the defenders from St Kilda. They just were not set up behind the ball. None of them were communicating, and what happens? They ended up going somewhat coast to coast.
Campbell sucking in some breaths after his effort to get it towards Haywood, who leans the kick towards the left with his body. And that is the right result for the Swans that puts them in front for the first time since the 25-minute mark of the second quarter. And Haywood's got 3 for the afternoon as well. So it's Sydney in front, 13-7-85. They've taken the lead from the Saints, 12-8-80. 14 minutes have been played in the final term. The thoughts of your experts, Callum Sinclair and Nathan Burke.
Well, I love these games that come down to moments. And that was a moment there. Really good composure going inside 50. I thought Haywood was on 2 or 3 times before that, but he still ended up getting the football. But you're right, it's a spoil that's missed. It's the ball going over the back. Like Caminetti stopped his player from marking the ball, but let the ball go over the back, and then away the Swans go. Saints' inability to hold the ball in their forward line when they had, there's 36 players inside that forward 50. All of those little things going to mean a lot in this game.
Swans led by 21 in the opening term. Saints led by 19 in the 3rd. Now it's Sydney by 5 with the free kick out of the middle to Grundy.
Yeah, just outsmarted the young fella getting in the ruck, got himself a free kick.
Off to Roberts. Roberts a low, penetrating kick in the McLean direction. It's taken out of his hands. Wilkie got run down. No free kick for it. It spills to the top of the goal square. We'll have a ball up. Buller with the tackle, not rewarded. Swans deep inside forward 50 and pressing.
There could be 2 moments there. McLean almost got the mark, almost got a free kick. Umpire was generous.
Grundy takes it out of the ruck, tries to just throw it on his boot. Windhager, standing start off the behind line, kicks long outside the defensive 50, across was Sharman. It's picked up by Wicks, who runs it on goal and hits the post.
He was going to do the massive arc, Wicks. You could just feel it, couldn't you?
He was going to do the Tom Papley then.
Yeah.
Of course, no Papley out there, and Sam Wicks can't get that one through. It's a 1-goal ball game. 13-8 the Swans, 12-8 the Saints, 16.5 gone. Final term, Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
And this is what the Saints have got to do. They've got to absorb this pressure from the Swans. It's going to be a big sign of their maturity about how they can handle it.
Miller is bouncing once and he takes on the player standing in the pocket and decides to chip it towards Windhager, who takes the mark ahead of Campbell. who almost sits on his back in the end, and Windhager holds it. Wanganeen Miller has kept running. Hand pass to him, couple of bounces, chips towards Sharman. Centre wing for the Saints. They've lost the lead that they've held for about 45 minutes or so to the Swans, now ahead by 6 points. Still plenty of time to recover it. The Saints won by 2 points in this corresponding match last year. The chip comes down to Steele, and Steele's holding on to the footy right half forward for St Kilda. He's got Windhager short. Windhager's had plenty of the footy today. Goes a little longer, goes into the pocket. He was hoping for Marshall to sit and take the kick, but Marshall was being held on to in the contest. I think that was there, Berkey.
Was it there? Just an arm around the front, was it?
A little bit of a hold on the jumper, maybe.
It was soft, whatever it was.
The free kick will be against Mills. It'll be Ron Marshall to line up here.
For what? Got no idea. But if both link up arms, it's not a free kick to either one.
So it's Marshall now with the chance. He'll start his approach from outside the boundary line. About 40 metres out, hemmed in, close to the line, kicks it right across the face of the goals. It'll stay in play. No mark can be taken by Owen. Still in play. Wood has a go at it. Higgins can hand pass it away. Clark has a shot at the goals. It's still kept in. Higgins takes it, hand passes it to Roberts. In the opposing colours, and it's Roberts that can clear the kick out of 50.
Wilkie had a play at it, the opposite 44, scurries across in Lloyd to walk it across the boundary line. It'll be tossed back in, 55 out from the Saints goal at left half forward.
This is time for a guy like Jack Higgins, just the 3 kicks and a few handballs, just the one behind today, hasn't hit the score, so this is where he needs to come to the fore.
It's not your day, it can still be your moment. Swans by a goal, 19 minutes played here in this final term. Nathan Burke, Cal Sinclair, your experts, Joel Peterson, Lauren Borden calling it for you on ABC Sport. McRae's dragged down at the stoppage, and we will have it tossed aloft. 48 metres out from the St Kilda goal. Marshall and Grundy go into battle. Grundy punches it straight up in the air. Heaney had it, lost it. Warner a handball over his head. There's a free kick as Steele was holding on to Heaney.
These are the moments, these free kicks, that are going to be costing each side, and the Saints have just got to keep it together for the next, 8.5 minutes.
3 goals to 1, Sydney's advantage in this last quarter. Allows them to take the lead. The kick from Heaney comes down to Grundy, who holds on to the mark. Sydney's lead 6 points. As Grundy gets back up with the footy, still has it at right half back. Everyone's just taking a moment to take a deep breath as Grundy loads up on the kick, right down the line on the outer wing of the ground. It's punched down by Caminiti, straight to McRae. He's tackled by a couple of Swans. Ball spills out the back, right to Heaney, who hand passes it away to Jordan, who takes the footy, is tackled. And it'll be a free kick going the way of the Saints. So the footy will be returned to Garcia and to St Kilda. They've got it just forward of half back. And they're now trailing after leading for so long in this match. The kick comes across to Stocker. He puts it backwards towards Hill, as they have done throughout this game, is go backwards to then move the footy forward and chip it across to Caminiti, who marks at centre wing.
Swans by a goal into time on final term. Saints with the footy trying to build it back up. Sinclair to Wilkie. Couple of All-Australian Saints.
He's got all but 2 players behind him. It's Swans they've manned up and clogged up that forward line.
One of those players that was behind Wilkie's going to be used here in Taru. Just tries to nurse the kick. He steers it to Henry. Marks in front of the centre circles. Called to play on now. His left foot kick out wide. Stocker between the wing and half forward. A good 2 kicks from home. Saints trail by a goal. 21 gone final quarter. They led by as many as 19 in the third. The Swans led by as many as 21 at the end of the first. It's been a game of momentum swings throughout. Here's Marshall in game 150. He's beyond the arc. The big fella lopes across. He's been given 50.
Don't you, little hero.
McInerney encroached onto the zone, and Rowan Marshall in game 150 will be trotted to the goal line to tie it up. He thumps it into the second tier. 86 points apiece. And whether it was good management or good fortune, it's good news for St Kilda. 13-8, 86. The Swans and the Saints, 22 gone, final term.
On ABC Sport, your experts are Callum Sinclair and Nathan Burke.
I actually didn't see too much of it, Berkey, but I'm guessing he infringed on, I guess, the protected area.
There's a guy coming from the side.
Justin McInerney.
Oh, look how far away he is. He's nowhere near.
Oh, man, I reckon that's there, Berkey. Not to challenge it. Yeah, I reckon that's there. He's challenged his arc. Regardless of the rule, he comes right in the protected area.
Let's have a look from this angle here.
That's a bad angle. That's a bad angle to look at it from.
That's ridiculous. He's just going to kick the ball. He wasn't affecting the play. If you've got to be 10 metres, he was probably 8.5, 9. I feel sorry for the Swans, but
might be an email sent on Monday.
Yeah. Good news for the Saints, but umpire, seriously, know the moment.
Yep, the 6-point stands either way. And now scores are all locked up in this final term. Chasing after it is Heaney in the middle, gets knocked down, finds Rowbottom. He's pushed off the footy by Sinclair. Hand pass across to Wood. It's the Saints with the footy now. Through the centre of the ground, hand pass to McRae. Long kick into the arc, tapped away by Heath. Chasing after it is Mulligan of the Swans, just gets a hand pass away towards Weeks, who curves the ball around the boundary line, bounces a few times.
Don't know that.
Throw in.
Oh.
Everyone breathe, it's just a throw in.
He was pushed in the back as he kicked along the boundary line. It dribbled along and went out. Some umpires would say that was not sufficient intent, but good call.
Throw in top of the 50 for the Saints. Grundy and Marshall go at it. It's tapped down and there's a kick coming away from Steele that goes up high. And the free kick has been found and it's going the way of St Kilda.
Not to go off topic, but the boundary umpire's got a very interesting one-arm technique. The boundary throw in. It's very rare that you see that in today's day and age. I like it.
Just a bit of a lazy boy, just sling it in there with the one arm. Here's McRae from half forward to set the Saints up. Long kick to the top of the square. Owens comes across, slaps it down into the path of the captain Steele to Windhager. Around the body, hits the bottom of the boot. It'll bounce and stay in play. Heath takes it. Handball over his head to Marshall. Bounces off his knee toward the behind line. Through for a minor score. And to borrow a famous phrase, could be a handy point. 13-9 to 13-8, 24 gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
And the Swans will bring it straight through, right out of the 50. Blakey with a kick to centre wing. It's a one-on-one contest. Off the back, it goes to McInerney, who just has to tap it. The ball bounced high. McRae's in there for the Saints as well. In the end, Jordan has a go at it. Can hand pass it to Goulden, who hand passes it to McInerney. A looping hand pass over the top to Haywood, who flicks it towards Heaney. A clever tap towards Goulden, who's kept running inside the forward 50. Just had to kick it in a hurry, and Stocker goes back, does well, stuck out his right arm and holds on to the mark inside defensive 50 for St Kilda.
He's had some good moments today, Stocker. I thought he's been very good.
3 big marks in this last quarter. As soon as you give him a wrap, of course, he turns it over. Straight to McInerney. McInerney back inside the forward 50, straight to Stocker, who bashes it back the other way with a closed fist. Steele can't keep it in, it'll go out of play. For a man who's been maligned over the course of his career, Liam Stocker, he stood up in a big way in this last quarter for the Saints. Led by 13 points at the start of the quarter. The Swans came back to hit the front by 5. Now it's the Saints by 1. Inside forward 50 here for Sydney. Rowbottom's tackled by a couple of Saints. And it is a ball up. 13-9, place 13-8. 25.5 gone final term. Joel Peterson, Lauren Borden, Nathan Burke and Cal Sinclair with you. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Nothing in this match. Grundy taps it down to Goulden. A stoppage goal. He's got it. Goulden's got it, quick as you like. These moments were made for players like him. And the Sydney Swans have pulled back in front. Another lead change, the 4th of the match. And the Swans are ahead by 5 points in the dying stages of this match. It's Sydney 14-8-92, St Kilda 13-9-87. 5 points the margin. 26 minutes have ticked over in this final term. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
Cal, I'll give you a chance to talk about it because it's really impressive ruck work.
Yeah.
But what I love is just the experience and the know-how of those two players to instantly get on the same page. Whether it was just a nod and a wink or what it was, Goulden just looping around the back of the stoppage, Grundy knowing exactly where he's going to be. You know, the kick for goal and everything was fantastic. But just the two of them to have the wherewithal at this late stage of the game to pull that off.
On a free kick out of the middle here. So it's going to Grundy. Might have been a starting position violation, a second of the game. Grundy kicks inside forward 50. McLean comes across. Heaney in front. They crash into the pack. It's picked up by McInerney. He shoots it toward goal. Desperate defence from the Saints. McRae's there on the last line. It was Stocker again who was involved. Another important intervention. And now Garcia blasted outside the defensive 50. A 1-on-2. Sharman goes up, brings it down. Warner flashes across the front of the pack. Slips the tackle. 50 out from the Swans. Centering kick. Dangerous spot. Wood.
And they've got to go now, you know what I mean?
They try to go. Wood looked for Owens with the kick. He tried to soccer it on. Couldn't find anyone on the end of it. Couldn't take possession. Now it's dragged in underneath him. And we'll have a ball up middle of the ground. Swans by 5. 27.5 gone final term. It is a game that is right on the knife's edge at the moment.
Marcus Windhager's yelling at the bench. He doesn't know whether he's coming off or not. He's running back into the contest now. And it's another stoppage on that outer edge of the square.
Just looking at the body language of players, there's a few tired boys out there, but Braden Campbell directing his teammates, just trying to compare it to the Saints at the moment.
Ball comes down in the ball up. It's locked up again.
And that's what the Swans want. They'll want to lock that ball up, whereas the Saints want to play the opposite. They want to keep the ball live, keep it paddling along, try and surge it if they can.
Just trying to chew up those seconds, the Swans. It comes out to Marshall, dispossessed of the footy. Umpire calls play on.
This is feeding into the Swans' play now. They just want to keep getting stoppage after stoppage, locking it up.
So Rowbottom there at the bottom of the pack. It comes up, the umpire will start it again. There's plenty of players around the footy. Again, it's Rowbottom. Like you said, Carl, just happy to take that tackle. And we'll have another stoppage. We haven't moved anywhere, just on that outer edge of the square. Sydney trying to hold on to this 5-point lead and keep their season alive.
Still right in the middle of the ground. Grundy gets it out wide. McInerney thought he was taken high. No free kick. Sinclair loops the handball forward to Wanganeen Miller, who put it on the back foot for Wood. Goulden slid in. In fact, McInerney it was who upended Wood. Free kick.
I think it was took his legs.
Yep, so free kick for the contact below the knees in the contest there, and Wood will take the free kick in game 150. At the edge of the arc and puts it down the throat of Goulden.
Worst kick of the day.
Mason Wood on the diagonal to the top of the 50, put it straight down the throat of Errol Goulden, the last goal kicker in the game, who gave the Swans their 5-point advantage. He sends it back out wide. Hasty can't keep it in. It is going to be a free kick in the marking contest. It will go to Warner from right on halfway. Swans by 5, nearly half an hour gone in the final term.
And they'll set the ground up now beautifully.
So Warner kick right down to half forward. The Swans holding on to this narrow lead. Grundy tries to pull it down. Marshall gets a hand pass away. It doesn't go very far. McLean paddling, trying to just hold it in his possession. Get it across to Heaney. They're close to the boundary line. Can't get to the safety of it. Windhager's there to move it across to McRae. Just chips the footy to Sinclair. They're moving quickly here, the Saints. Hand pass across to Wood. He kicks down to left half forward, moving the ball on. Here's Stocker just inside 50. Swans all around him. Has to hand pass over the top of his head. Still it's close to the boundary line. Wood's coming to help. Can kick inside 50, looking for Heath Haywood. Front position in the back line, and might have just taken a goal-saving mark in that defensive 50 arc.
Saints have got 8 players playing forward. They've thrown everyone forward to even up the numbers.
Swans by 5, 30.5 minutes gone. Haywood blasts it outside the defensive 50 up toward the wing. Marshall punches it across for a throw-in.
There's a hit out that needs to be won. It's got to be Marshall, and he's got to kind of put some purchase on it, bring this somehow in the corridor. You know exactly where the Swans want to lock this up.
Ball between the wing and half forward. Saints into attack, trailing by 5. Hasty has a play at the stoppage. It spills loose. Woods there, backtracks, gives it to Hasty. The youngster feigns once, twice, thrice. Goes the fend off, gets the kick away as he's slung up toward half forward. And a diving mark is taken for Sydney. Is it Jordan who's picking himself up off the turf? It is. He half-winded himself as he lunged forward to take the mark. He sends it wide, right out toward the boundary line. Grundy does the right thing, punches it across. And on the centre of the city wing, we will have a stoppage. And maybe one last roll of the dice here for the Saints. They trail by 5. It is Sydney 14-8, St Kilda 13-9. And the ball to be tossed back in right on halfway.
What a final quarter we've had. Grundy palms it down to Jordan. Hand pass to Warner. This is exactly what the Swans need. Just a long kick inside 50, a one-on-one. Wilkie doing battle with Buller, who will win out. Wilkie just pushes Buller off it. Hasty comes in to help him. Hand pass to Wilkie. They've got a shot here, St Kilda, if they can go. The kick to McRae. He's just ducking and weaving through the centre of the ground. A long kick inside 50 for the Saints. They need a mark. They don't get it. The siren, and it is Sydney that has won by 5 points. They desperately wanted to keep their season alive, and by a narrow margin they have defeated St Kilda in a comeback victory. So it was Sydney that had the lead at quarter time. They were 9 points to the good. Then St Kilda fought back in a second quarter where it was 3 goals to 1. The Saints leading by 10 points at half time. It was 13 points at 3-quarter time, the margin, before in the final quarter Sydney worked its way back into the lead. They win by 5 points in front of 29,589 fans. It is Sydney that are just staying in touch with the top 8.
Honour the name by day and by night. Lift that noble banner high. Shake down the thunder from the sky. Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall. While our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory.
Oh, what a finish in the end. It felt like it could have gone either way. There was that final run from the Saints just to have one last roll of the dice and one last shot. But the siren sounding as the ball went inside 50. It is Sydney winners 14-8-92 to St Kilda 13-9-87. The Swans with their 8th win of the season. They've got an 8-9 ledger for the year. Well, for St Kilda, their 12th loss, and they're 5-12 for the season so far. They haven't won since round 12, and it's Sydney who put in a couple in a row after defeating Fremantle at the SCG last week. The goal kickers for the game, it was Jake Lloyd, who was the unlikely kicker of 3 goals for the Swans, and Will Haywood, impressive in that last quarter. He had 3 for the game, 2 in the last quarter. A couple of goals to Jack Buller in just his 4th game, and then singles to Hayden McLean, Isaac Heaney, Rowbottom, Sheldrick, Jordan and Errol Goulden. Well, for St Kilda, it was 3 goals to Max Hall, a couple to Cooper Sharman and to Mitch Owens, who had 2, and then singles to Steele, Marshall, Garcia, Sinclair, Boxhall and Heath. But what a finish comes Sinclair. Nathan Burke, what did you make of those final frantic moments?
Yeah, well, they were frantic, absolutely frantic. And as we said, it was going to come down to moments. And the big moment of the day was Grundy and Gordon being on the same page. The stoppage, sort of 48 metres out from goal. It was Grundy who pushed his Marshall under the ball, flips it over to the back to Goulden, running around onto his preferred foot, which is really, really smart, into the middle, and then finished off with the goal to put them in front. So I'm glad that the umpire giving Rowan Marshall 50 metres that put the Saints back in front wasn't the deciding factor in the day. But a really fascinating game. But both teams, it was seesawing. Saints got out to around about 20 points. The Swans got their noses in front. But one thing you can't deny is just the Swans' ability to hang in there, to grind out. And I think at the end of the day, they were probably just that little bit more polished than what the Saints were, and they probably made less mistakes coming home in that last bit of the game than what the Saints did. So well done by the Swans, and for the league and the ladder, I'm sort of glad that the Swans won, because it just sort of keeps things a bit more interesting, Cal, on the way home.
Yeah, it certainly just gives them a slight sniff, going into the back half of the year. But that stoppage, and I completely agree with you. Like, I guess the ruck brilliance of Grundy to connect there with Errol Gordon. But from a Saints perspective, you have to review that stoppage. Letting Gordon go goal side, particularly on his left boot. Good players and good teams kind of scout that sort of stuff, and they should have been absolutely hot on that. Plus, the Swans wanted to win that game. So where would we think Grundy would put that? He's going to put that in the most dangerous part of I guess, the ground, that stoppage, and that goes behind it. But I think overall, it was a good game to watch. It was a great finish. A little bit patchy at times. Berkey, I thought we felt the game was. I think certain players, weren't as disciplined as they could be with the free kicks. And the free kicks played a big part of the scoreboard today, I felt as well. But fair bit to like about the Saints, I felt. Still just don't know quite where they're at, do you? It's just, it's a funny one. They've got some players in there that you just feel like they'd benefit from a couple of, not necessarily superstars, but some well-established AFL players being included in their list, if that makes sense. Like some couple of, not to harp on about the Tom De Koning thing, but I think your point earlier was really good. I'd benefit from 2 or 3 really good seasoned, hardened AFL players that come in there and really, really make an influence, particularly in that midfield group, because I think that's just where their depth is a little bit questioned, I feel.
Yeah. And also they need a tall defender. Caminiti, who played his trade as a forward initially, and he's gone back because they have to. They don't really have anyone else with Dougal Howard injured. I'd like to see them have Max King's out. So Max King comes back, he sort of fills that role, hopefully, but a key forward as well. And Josh Battle, that medium-sized, tall defender who can intercept mark and send the ball back the other way. They haven't managed to replace him at all. All the other defenders are small. So, look, they've got a lot of holes in their list currently. Swans going off now with a big local support down here. They'll jump on the plane tonight with a completely different attitude than they would have if the game had finished 3 minutes earlier.
And Wilkie's an interesting